Orientation is locked. Rotate device. I don't know if it's doing it right now or not, but we're trying to see. Love this show. Thank you there. I think that says blessed up Kev. I'll just go ahead and kick off the live if it allows me to do so. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Happy Saturday, you folks that are tuned in. I was trying to just give you a spiel because I know some of you folks are here watching while I was screwing around the device. We're trying to bring on a third platform. Some of you folks have been suggesting you would like to see YouTube horizontal because both platforms are vertical. Some folks said they want to see it horizontal. So we are trying that. YouTube does allow it both ways. So we're going to try to do that. But let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the show. As you may see, the show is indeed titled The Power of Trump. Now, make no mistake about it, Trump has really, for lack of a better term, he's done the impossible. You're talking about, I don't know, he started out with 90 some odd indictments, 90 some odd charges. Well, we could even go back before that. We could go back to 2 impeachments. Then after leaving office, then we're going to talk about 90 some odd indictments, 34 confirmed felonies. And yet he is actually leading Kamala Harris. He's actually doing better than Kamala Harris. So what I want to ask you folks is, we want to explain. I can't even get this out. I want folks to explain the power of Trump. Now we could be talking about everything from being Teflon Don to just simply being untouchable. But make no mistake about it, Trump has a power that is unmatched, unrivaled. No one else that I don't think any of us can think of has went through all of the, I want to sound too religious here, but all of the trials and tribulations of former President Trump. He has, whether you love him or hate him, you got to give a man credit. He has survived a lot. And I'm not even getting into the fact that somebody even tried to take the man's life on top of it. On top of it. But we're talking multiple impeachments. We're talking 91 original, I think it was about 91 indictments. A few of them got thrown out, so it went down to 80 some odd indictments. 34 actually got through, so he got 34 confirmed felonies. And he is leading in the polls. How does a man sustain that many swings at him and come out on top? That's what I want to hear you folks discuss today. Because I am baffled. I've been covering shows. We've been doing shows and discussing this topic since the very beginning. And I gotta tell you, I'm eating crow. I must inhale a lot of humble pie because there's no way in hell I thought Trump or anyone else could sustain what that man went through and come out on top in the position he is. Now, at the end of the day, he may not necessarily win. He may not win the election, but he damn sure could. It's damn sure looking very good for former President Trump. How does someone come out like that? Now, in the comments, before we continue with the show, that says, Johns, I think, says he's not leading in the polls. In several polls, Trump is leading. There are polls that suggest Kamala Harris is leading in some places too, but I just seen a poll not long ago among likely voters. Trump is leading. Put it this way. We can argue, bitch, about who's leading or not. It's fucking close. It's really close. It's not a runaway for Kamala Harris. It's not a runaway for Trump. Yet Trump has sustained all sorts of attempts on his political career and up to and including his life. Kamala Harris hasn't sustained any of that. Yet he is very competitive with her. How does that work? I want to ask you folks. Also, early voting has started. The state of Georgia claims over 1 million plus people have already voted. Have you voted? Have you already cast your ballot? Is early voting allowed in your jurisdiction? Do you trust it? Remember 2020, Trump was singing a totally different tune than he is now. In 2020, Trump was adamantly against early voting. Now he's telling everyone in Israel is get out and vote. What did he say? Get your ass off the couch. Shout out to Trump for actually getting involved in the system now. But he was adamantly against early voting in the last election. So definitely the question is, have you voted? Do you trust that system? Because Trump had us believing that early voting meant fraud. Early voting would lead to fraud. Now, as I always point out on many shows, Trump has yet to prove that any of that fraud took place, in my humble opinion. But have you voted already? And of course, why is Trump surviving so well despite the numerous attempts at his political career, his freedom, and or his life? So moving on with the program, you guys know how we run it. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section. You damn sure can be critical of the host. We're all about free speech here. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. We are MAGA friendly. Always have been that way. Always will be that way. Real quick, for some of you folks that may be watching the horizontal broadcast on YouTube, I'm pointing right at you because I'm looking at all these different devices. But for you folks on YouTube that are being pointed at right now, understand this is the first time I've ever done this, so I might be slow because everything is all twisted on the screen. So I'm just simply trying to see, based on the participation, if it's worth this third platform. But you're going to hear the audio from YouTube. There are folks on YouTube horizontal and also vertical. So going straight to the box, I think that says Bar Stool Plane. That's a hell of a name. Good afternoon and welcome to the pro. Why is Trump defying every damn body? Are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
How is it that Trump, despite numerous attempts on his presidency, 2 impeachments, numerous attempts at his political career, his freedom, 91 plus charges, and even his life, how the hell is he doing so well and surviving it all?
Because people don't know the real Donald Trump. They only see what the media is seeing, feeding them. I've read several of his books. That man has not changed in however many years that I've known about him. Oh, they loved him on the shows like Oprah and what's her face there? Not Martha Stewart, but the other lady there. Loved her. Couldn't wait. They were ecstatic when they were on there.
But you say you're saying he has not changed. Keep in mind, you're going back to Oprah. Trump was speaking highly favorable back then of the Clintons, of Oprah. He was friendly to Al Sharpton. What do you mean he hasn't changed?
I'm fine with that.
But you said
I'm not going to throw a blanket over anybody. Everybody's got their own ideas. He's an individual.
No. That's not what I'm pushing back on. What I'm pushing back on is your statement that he has not changed, and I'm letting you know that a lot of folks he is critical of today, he was friendly with yesterday.
Well, maybe they did something he disagreed with.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can say, man. I mean, I don't know what Oprah's done.
I mean, plain. I'm not. I mean, I might say something or do something you disagree with. It doesn't make me a bad person.
No, I'm not. We're not here to say he's a bad person. I'm just addressing your comment that he hasn't changed. You know, he is on video saying that you don't need assault rifles. That is something he used to say. You're saying he has not changed.
Oh, he's changed with that.
Okay.
Why can't a human being change? Why can't their past be in the past and be good for the times for now?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, if I was a criminal or something and I went to prison and I got out, I wouldn't want to still pay for those crimes. I've worked with guys like that, really great guys that made stupid mistakes.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying. You do understand. The only reason why I'm asking you this series of questions is because you stated he has not changed.
With a common ground,
What do you mean?
just the common ground of morality and things like that.
So
I
when
mean,
he,
I don't know. I don't know anything about Harris. I know nothing about her. I mean, all I heard was, and I'm not trying to change the subject, guys. So forgive me,
okay,
but she is an anomaly. She was put in there because there was no other choice. They didn't vote on anybody.
true.
So I don't have much to go on with her. All I hear is, I'm changing the subject. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, let me ask you. Going down that avenue, first question I would ask is there any liberal that you know that you are aware of that if they had a held a vote as opposed to just giving it to Kamala and put that liberal in place, you would vote for them over Trump? Do you know of any liberal that would have done that?
Yeah, but she.
Give me that. Wait, who is that liberal?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard is a Republican. She's left the party. She's not a liberal.
Well, she jumped.
Yeah.
She jumped.
So
Yeah. I voted for Obama this first term, and I thought, man, I was hoping that things would change for people, and I just didn't get my money's worth out of it. I just
right. But let me make sure I get clarity though. If they had a held a vote, because you're stating that they just gave the job to Kamala, many say that that shows a failure of democracy because they just gave it to her without a vote. Am I getting clarity here that even if they have had a vote, there is likely no liberal that would have got your vote regardless?
no, not with my current beliefs.
Okay. So the vote then is irrelevant. The vote don't really. The fact that they didn't vote her in, at least for you personally, it really doesn't matter. You weren't going to vote
Yeah,
even.
absolutely, you're right.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue that.
All right. Okay.
No.
I brought that up. I'll let you continue, but the reason I brought that up is because the overwhelming majority of the folks I'm hearing state that it's wrong to just give Kamala the job as opposed to having a vote are just like you. They weren't going to vote for any of them no matter what happened. So they're saying that it should have been a vote, but at the end of the day, that we're going to vote for Trump. It don't matter what happens anyway.
And I've had friends that are Democrats, lifelong Democrats, that said that, nope, I'm not gonna. I mean, on the other side of it, I've had lifelong Republicans said they'd rather vote Camilla over Trump. So,
right.
I mean, it's an individual thing.
So what have you heard? Because you mentioned you didn't really know Kamala. What have you heard from her that just flat out turns you off as a voter?
It's the silence from her.
What do you mean silence?
Well, it's maybe my location or something, but maybe it's her platform. All I get out of her is like this pro-choice stuff.
Are you pro-choice?
I worry with her about her foreign policy. I don't know that she's well versed in any of that. That's what scares me about that.
But how do you feel about Trump's foreign policy?
I think it's better to have a rapport with people, different countries, even if they're freaking evil, over let's say, as a protection for us, I guess I want to say. I don't want to send, they'll do it, but our heroes of the military, stuff like that.
Okay, Trump had, wait. Okay, you're saying a rapport with people even if they're evil. Could you explain, how does that benefit the United States to have a rapport with maybe dictators or someone that's quote unquote evil? How does that?
It keeps the Scud missiles from landing in Maryland. I worry about that. I don't want another 9/11.
Yeah. Here's the issue I have with that. If you are president, let's say we propel you there to the nation's highest office. If you have a rapport with people that you're saying that are evil, but at the end of the day, you don't get any treaties or any deals or anything official done, then that rapport is only good for the 4 to 8 years you're in office. Once you're gone, all of that is meaningless because you didn't get anything signed or anything officially accomplished.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that.
So what good is it then?
Yeah. Well, it's got 3 to 4 good years of not getting the shit blown out of us.
Yeah. You do realize how quick that's over with. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm a dictator, let's say, for instance, I'm Putin, and I want to take over the Ukraine, or maybe Romania or one of the other neighboring nations. Putin's going to be around until he damn near dies. He can wait 4 to 8 years. That's not that long. All you're doing is making folks wait. You're not really changing anything.
The distance between a Republican and Democrat, you're probably a little bit younger than me, but I can remember JFK and things like that. I would vote for him in heartbeat because there was a common ground with him and Republicans. My mother's been a lifelong Democrat all of her life.
Okay.
And she's 83, and she doesn't know who she's voting for.
This close? It's like 17, 18 days that you still don't know?
I'm telling you, she's torn.
And she's mentally fit? She's mentally fit and healthy?
Yeah, but these aren't the Democrats of old, is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
They're more concerned with the culture than they are with finance, with, getting the shit blown out of us. I don't know.
Well, when you say this is not the Democrats of old, do you see the Republicans as being the Republicans of old? Is the Republican Party under Trump similar to what it was under Bush or Reagan?
Honest to God, I didn't vote Republican till Trump got here. I swear to you.
Wow. So then it would be safe to admit you acknowledge that the Republican Party made serious changes too, because you wouldn't even support that party until Trump came along.
And with me, it has to do with morality, it has to do with ethics, it has to do with recidivism and the crime that, I live in New York State, so it's Democrat run. So the whole state has to suffer under that.
You said, you use the word morality. Now, you're voting for Trump. You don't see anything immoral by Trump. You see him as the representative of morality.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But at this point, is that we're at a crossroads. Okay, so you got to either choose a strong person to run the country or someone that's just a woman and of color.
I think I don't know what Kamala Harris is capable of, so I'm not trying to just defend Kamala Harris, but that's the only attribute you give her. She's a woman of color. She hasn't done anything good.
Well, I'm sure, but I just haven't.
All right, fair enough. That's a strong. I gotta move it on. That's a strong opinion. You definitely drive a hard bargain. Is this our first time talking?
What's that?
This is our first time chatting?
Absolutely, yep.
It's been a pleasure. Come on back through. We don't have to agree politically. It's always a pleasure. Come back through sometime, man. Feel free to follow the program.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Absolutely. And that's how we do it here, folks. We don't block, ban, or censor. Left of Bernie Sanders, Trump having dinner with Q. Everyone gets to speak. We're going to push back. So understand it. That's how the program works. We do push back, but we certainly do not believe in talking down to guests or simply limiting someone because they have a different political opinion. That's how it works. Tap the screen. I see someone says, but he is racist, though. Says Judy, how do you see him as being racist? He did say Kamala Harris is the only attributes for Kamala Harris is that she is a woman. She is a woman and a person of color. I don't know if I hear the racism in that. You could easily say sexism as well because he threw the gender in there. So I'll leave it at that. But continuing on with the program, district attorney over dictator any day. Says cool, calm, and collective. District attorney over dictator any day. Well, the pushback is going to be we had 4 years of Trump, and he did not walk away as a dictator. So you do have to answer for that. If he's going to be a dictator, why didn't he do it the first term? That is often asked. Wait for my TikTok viewers. Get the likes up to about 15,000. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. We are MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are always welcome on the program as well. But it does help out the algorithm. So I do appreciate for you folks on YouTube as well. Smash that like button. And real quick, I'll just say this again before I go to the next caller. For my third platform YouTube viewers that are watching it horizontally, this is the first time I've ever done it. So any mishaps with the program, my apologies as I learn how to figure this out. But the vertical streams as normal. Real quick in the comments, Nero, I can't even pronounce all of that. The change in vision cannot be facilitated without the support from the party donors, and I highly doubt. Okay, so you're speaking with somebody else. I'm sure you were in the bedroom with her sleeping her way to the top. Chinese whispers. Here's what before I go to the next caller, it's not uncommon for folks to suggest that Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Willie Brown, back in the 1980s or whatever the case may be. Two pushbacks. In defense of Kamala on this one, and I would not defend her in this if I thought that was legit, but she's had so many elected positions. She would have had to sleep with every damn body. You would have to have more modern lovers than Willie Brown. She went from district attorney to attorney general. She rose to power in San Francisco. Then she rose to power in California, became a U.S. senator in California, became a vice president, and now she's running for president. If she slept her way to the top, Willie Brown cannot provide all of that. So I do want to point that out, that she is constantly getting promotions that require votes. She didn't get appointed to all those damn positions. Those are votes. So the idea that she slept her way to the top, based on that premise alone, does not make sense. But I do want to provide a second topic before we go to the next caller. If you see Kamala Harris with the whole Willie Brown thing is sleeping her way up to the top, but you view Melania Trump favorable, then you're just biased. Then sleeping your way to the top don't mean a damn thing to you. Because when Trump was in power, your first lady literally slept her way into that position. That is the only reason she is married to Trump. She slept her way into that position. There are actual nude photos of her that are easily researched online. She clearly was selling her body for money. Now, I just want to point out the obvious. If you're going to suggest that it is wrong, whatever you're accusing Melania or accusing Kamala Harris of, but you view Melania Trump favorably, then you're being biased. She clearly did that. I mean, there's no way in hell you're going to get anyone to believe that the relationship between Melania Trump and former President Trump is organic and they just fell in love with each other and she would have dated that guy even if he was broke as I am. No way in hell. So you can't bring up Kamala Harris and ignore that. That's my humble opinion. Going back to the box, moving on with the next caller. I can't believe people keep bringing that up, but I do have to push back in that manner. The one and only Jeremy, one of my subscribers. We always get a subscriber's first dicks. Good evening, Jeremy.
Hello, Tim. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Because I see folks push back on me. It's a little bit off topic, but I want to get your opinion. What about my pushback that the notion that Kamala Harris slept her way up to the top is got to be in the same category with Melania Trump?
Oh, because Melania isn't running. Like, I don't care about Doug Emhoff, if he slept his way into Kamala's life. Like, I don't care about that. Now, here's the thing.
Hold on, before you continue, so you're saying you don't care if the first lady does something immoral because she's not running for power?
Yeah, as long as it's not directly hurting somebody. Like, obviously, you can condemn someone, but you don't have to care if they did something bad if they're not running, because then it's well, what power are they gonna really have? Sure, they can influence people, but that's kind of the same soft.
You don't think the first lady has any power at all? You don't think she can?
Power.
She got her husband is president. You don't think she can influence him in any way? Remember they were saying that Hillary Clinton was always influencing Bill when he was in office.
Yeah, but that only started mattering the second she started running. Like then, that's a little different.
I'm
like,
yeah.
Like I don't like when Bill was in office. I didn't care what Hillary did that much, although I wasn't around.
Okay, that's
like,
maybe that has something to do with it. Because what I'm saying is that when Bill Clinton was in office, everyone was suggesting that Hillary Clinton was running things behind the scenes. And that's what I'm saying. You're making it sound like what Kamala Harris did, if people would even believe that she could sleep her way to the top. But folks are suggesting that she did it, but for some reason, sleeping your way to the top doesn't make much of a difference when you're first lady. I don't. That doesn't make sense to me.
It only. Well, again, who's running for office? Melania? Is she running for office?
She's representing our country, though. She's meeting dignitaries. I mean, she is representing America, and she does have power.
Soft power. Now, soft power is not nothing, but she doesn't even have that much soft power. She has more than most women who are married to the person with hard power or do, because she's in a higher office than most. But even then, let's say we compare her soft power to the Pope's soft power, because the Pope has a lot of soft power because he has influence over Catholics, right?
Okay, I'm listening.
Her power level compared to the Pope is almost none.
I mean, I get your point. Obviously, a president officially has more power than a first lady. But what I'm saying is, if it is wrong to sleep your way to the top, then we should be viewing Melania Trump in a negative light.
I do kind of view her as slightly in there, but it's kind of like viewing like a little molehill in your backyard, or as a problem. It's like, not really. It's not that important, because again, she's not the one on the ticket. That I can keep coming back to that over and over and over and over again. And there's a lot of other things that Kamala Harris has done that I don't like, that go way beyond her just sleeping her way to the top, versus Melania, who, you know.
So what about okay, let's say you're talking about Kamala Harris sleeping her way. Well, I don't agree that she did it at all, but I'm willing to discuss it. So how do you feel about, as opposed to sleeping your way to the top, how do you feel about somebody who allowed it to happen?
Who allowed it to happen? Like you mean like Trump?
Like Willie Brown. Let's say Willie Brown.
I think it's bad because he's giving her actual hard power.
Okay, so giving Melania Trump the first lady's position because she's good at fucking, you're okay with that?
Well, it's less important.
She represents the country.
Think about it. No. Let's really break this down. Okay, let's really break this down. Okay, Kamala Harris was the DA, right?
Yes.
Or assistant DA? I can't remember.
Well, I'm assuming she probably had the assistant position too, but she had the district attorney, and then she became attorney general. But go ahead.
Yeah. That means she has the power to basically send people to jail, right?
Right.
Like she has power over. She already blocked evidence that of an innocent man that would have kept him off death row.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
Yeah. That's some power that goes way beyond. I have nude photos on the internet, and that's how I married a handsome rich man.
What the hell?
That was bad.
That was really bad. So how do you feel about the notion that she actually kept getting promotions through elections? Why are folks saying she slept her way to the top, which you don't get? Willie Brown can't appoint you to these positions. He can't appoint her as U.S. Senator. I mean, she has to get voted in.
But we're from California, a blue state every single time.
But she still has to get the votes of Californians. And by the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a Republican, and he won the governor, so you don't always have to be blue. Ronald Reagan was the governor of California as well.
I know. Schwarzenegger was a great rhino. I love that guy. He was funny.
He was a rhino. Okay.
Yeah, he was a good governor.
All right. So before I move it on, Jeremy, you know it's always good talking to you. Why do you believe that Trump continues to survive and literally the kitchen sink being thrown at him? He's had 2 impeachments, 91 charges, 34 convictions. He's still here in the race and very competitive. What is it about this guy that allows him to survive when no mere mortal could do so?
3 things. Number one, he's hilarious. Because let's be honest, he has some really good moments where when he bullies people, it's really funny. Uh,
That's bad, but keep going. That's bad.
Number two, he's somebody who, if we're being honest, the worst crimes that he's committed, at least from what we can tell, are not really serious crimes.
Tried to steal an election?
Yeah. Oh wait. No. Hold on. We can go.
That's what he's being accused of, Jeremy. I'm not. We can talk about it, but that is what he's being accused of.
Well, those felonies that he supposedly got. So he went to appellate court, and the lawyers literally asked the judges, "Please don't sanction us." Basically.
Wow. I get it.
And number three, he's someone who's willing to do what other Republicans had the opportunity to do for years and never did, which is truly try to go after the harder issues, those that Republicans were failing on their face for. They were in bed with the Democrats the entire time, and they just did not care about Americans at all. They were a bunch of neocons, and Trump was somebody who said, not with me. Even despite all the flaws he has, he's that bull in the china shop that everyone wanted to be released.
Not if it's your China they knocking over. It's all good to see him go into a liberal China shop, but if you own that shit in there, I don't think so much. Jeremy, always a pleasure. I got to move it on, but thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, as usual, Tim. Love you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. By the way, tap the screen, folks. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Be around 15,000. I get sometimes the topics are not favorable to some, but nevertheless, tap the screen. We want to keep this evolving. Get the likes up to about 15,000 on YouTube. Will G, thank you for that super chat. They are really trying to sweep all the crazy Trump crap under the rug, says Will G. I'm in the same camp as you, and I gotta say, Will, it looks like it is a success. Trump is doing very well considering how many things they threw at him. I don't know how to explain it. I've never seen it before, but he is doing it and doing it well. I believe that's a song by LL Cool J. Anyway, Will G also says everyone saying nobody voted for Harris will be dumping in the, wait a minute. What? Everyone saying nobody voted for Kamala Harris will be dumping in their underwear in November. So what he is basically suggesting that everyone that is saying we never saw democracy because Kamala Harris just got appointed. She wasn't voted in. He's suggesting that everybody that is crying about that is going to be shitting their pants when Kamala wins in November. I don't know if the polls are backing it up totally, Will, but we got 17, 18 days left? It's really close, folks. It's really close. This is a close race. By the way, state of Georgia is claiming that they've already had 1 million folks show up to cast their ballots. Has any of you folks voted yet? And I'm asking that because I follow up by saying, do you trust the process? Understand 2020, Trump was stating that mail-in voting was a way of opening the door to fraud. Now, he's promoting it now in 2024, but in 2020, Trump was adamantly against mail-in voting. Following it, Will G says, Trump thought he was a playboy when he was getting tricked the whole time, and it is all on his head now. I don't know. I don't think I agree with any of that. You're saying Trump thought he was a playboy? Well, shit, if you actually got access to the Playboy Mansion, you're close friends with Hugh Hefner. I mean, I got to bring up Epstein. Maybe the ones he was hanging around with Epstein were adults, whatever the case may be. But Trump had access to every, Studio 54, you name it. He's going in all of the places where you could have some real Playboy action. I disagree with the idea that he thought he was a Playboy. No, he was a genuine article. And before I go to the next caller, I will say this. Because I am so adamant that Trump was indeed the genuine article, I have a difficult time with the whole grab her by the you-know-what is locker room talk. Point I'm trying to make is this. You're a good-looking guy, which Trump was a decent-looking guy, tall, you name it. Were incredibly wealthy. When he came down the escalator in 2015, he suggested he was worth 15 billion. But he's always been insanely wealthy his entire adult life. You're attractive, you're insanely wealthy, you have a host of businesses, your own damn TV show, but yet you're on some bus lying on your dick? That doesn't make sense. If you're worth $15 billion and you tell someone you had 15 women in a hot tub butt naked simultaneously, it's probably true. You don't need to make dick tales when you got that much shit going for you. So I do want to push back and say the whole locker room talk is not true. That doesn't make sense. I could make all of that reality if I had Trump's money and prowess, and I would assume most of you watching could too. There's no need to make dick tales or lying on your dick when you're worth 15 billion, you're hanging around a Playboy man. You got too many real stories. Why would you be making something up? That doesn't make sense. I don't believe billionaires go around lying on their dick. I do believe whatever they say in terms of being with women is probably true. Because, simply put, there's an insane amount of women that would do it. Going to the next caller, tap the screen again. Like I said, I'm pushing this 15. You guys are really hard on that. Andy, one of my other subscribers, good evening. Welcome to the program, Andy. Trump is surviving it all, Andy. Now, I know you lean left. Trump is going to survive and pull it out. What say you? Andy, are you there?
Yes.
Looking like it's looking.
I do not think Trump is going to pull this out. Did you hear him speak?
I've heard him speak quite often. What are you saying?
I am saying that the man is losing it. His capability to hold together a sentence is waning.
Are you suggesting that he is what he used to say of Biden, can't string together a sentence?
Oh, yeah. He even cussed in front of the priest.
When did this happen?
In New York at that Frank Smith's dinner.
Yes, I did. Well,
he said bullshit in front of the priest,
yeah.
In front of a cardinal. Cardinal, not just any priest.
Yeah, but Andy, it is less than 20 days. Do you think, even if we're
sitting next to Chuck Schumer?
I get all that, but
it's just not a Republican-only friendly day. There were people behind him at his own town hall. There were Republican women that was a set-up thing who were looking at him like, is he crazy?
I mean, I get all of that, but with less than 20 days remaining, do you think...
I don't think he enjoys the support y'all think. I think those polls are skewed, and I think it's going to come out. Early voting's already starting to show it's leaning our way. It's not leaning Republican way.
So you think Kamala Harris is going to pull this out?
Begging his people to vote early now. What happened to, I hate mail-in voting. Now he's out here going, y'all mail in everything. Now he's complaining his own voters aren't voting. He told some woman named Lisa to get her fat pig husband off the
You know, when he said that, I had to...
Own voters that way, you got problems, Tim.
I did. He see him get their fat pig off the couch or whatever. I had to rewind it. I'm like, did I just hear what I thought I heard? But, you know.
That's to his own voters. Screw us.
Yeah, but let me ask you something, though. Does character matter? I mean, like, certainly with MAGA. I mean, is there really anything Trump could say that might be, slip of the tongue?
But I do think that MAGA is not all of the Republican Party.
No, I agree with that. There's some Nikki Haley supporters, but are they going to vote for Kamala?
No, I think there's some people like just party over country over party. I do believe there's some of those. I know more and more Republicans not willing to vote for Donald Trump. Because he won't denounce 2020. Like, if he had said 2020 was a mistake, January 6th was a mistake, he might have held some of these voters. He's actually losing voters with that line.
Then why the polls say otherwise?
Why did the polls say, the Republicans were going to win every race they've lost since they overturned Roe? I mean, let's be honest. The polls have not been that,
well, you're talking about the...
They said, this is going to the Republicans, but it went to the Democrats, and that's happened over and over and over. Even that election in Alabama, everybody's like, District 10 is going for the Republicans. It turned blue. Right now, Alabama just purged people off the voter roll, 2,000 citizens.
Wow.
You think Alabama's purging people because they're not scared?
I don't, I really don't.
And broke the law, and they know they broke the law, and they didn't just purge non-voters, they purged 2,000 citizens. You think Alabama, which is the Republican stronghold, is purging the voter rolls because they ain't scared? Let's be honest.
There's probably something to it. I don't like the idea that people are purging this damn close, but Stevie D in the comments.
Virginia.
But listen to
Virginia's doing that way.
Yeah, I don't. To me, there should be a time period where if you haven't purged, you don't get to do it. Certainly not this damn close. But Stevie D in the comments says can't wait to hear this woman talk November 6th. Now he's suggesting that Trump is going to win.
Make sure y'all vote when Trump told y'all to on January the 5th. Y'all do that. Why don't you?
What do you? Let me ask you this way. Because Trump could win. I understand your point, but he certainly could win.
It ain't gonna change nothing for me.
What is your biggest concern if Trump becomes president?
That he didn't have the good sense not to turn the army on the people, because he said this out loud.
You believe that he really will?
Own damn mouth. So he thinks that, we didn't do that in January 2016. Well, Donald Trump didn't come out and say he would turn the U.S. military on the people in 2016. He said that shit now.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. He did genuinely talk about using the military to go against his liberal adversaries, but do you believe?
Owned Fox News. They played that bullshit clip, and she laid into bed like, that ain't the clip. That ain't the clip where he said that he was going to use the. I mean, she ate Baird alive in that moment, and now he's come out and apologized. Had to show the real clip. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Shout out to him for actually doing that. I'm surprised he actually did that and apologized, because you wouldn't expect to get that apology and that kind of clarity.
Yeah, well, I mean, when Fox News is doing that shit, people are scared. Yeah. Republicans ain't as strong as they think. They would not be purging voter rolls. Brett Baird would not having to be backing his ass up on Fox News. It ain't her canceling appointments. He canceled 60 Minutes. He went to that one thing. He's canceled 4 more interviews. His handlers, have you seen him? The man looks like he's aged 100 years in a damn week.
But here's what I don't, Andy, here's the pushback I have on this though. Now that it is Trump versus the much
no, he's exhausted, Tim. You can't push back on the fact that he's Cruz.
Yeah, I can. Here's my pushback. Now that it is Trump versus a much younger Kamala Harris, the liberals are pointing out Trump's age and frailty, but they were defending the hell out of Biden when he was exhibiting the same symptoms. Why is that?
I'll tell you, but Biden never once stood up there and rambled for 45 minutes and didn't say shit. He might have been slow, he might have stumbled, but at least like during the debate, he answered the fucking questions. Trump has stood up there and babbled nonsense, like back to the border. That's all he did during the damn debate.
Andy.
Back to the border. No, Tim. You're not going to try to spin this.
No, I'm not going to spin it. I'm going to give you facts. You say Biden might, at least he answered the question. Did you not see the June 27 debate when he started talking about Medicare when the question had nothing to do with that?
He did once. How many times has Trump done it?
Also,
1,000 times?
Okay, so
let's play one character to 1,000 times. Did Trump, like, what is the thing with the batteries and the sharks and
Hannibal Lecter.
And the water, like, come on, Tim. We're not unaliving babies after birth. Let's talk about the bullshit that's come out of Trump's mouth.
I don't know where the unaliving babies at the birth comes from. I honestly don't know what was.
He's crazy. That's where that comes from. He doesn't. What is net positive energy? Does he know? Like, does he understand what net? He's like, I don't think anybody knows what net positive is. It's when you get more green energy without having to use any other kind of energy. For the Republicans, who I know in this group don't fucking know.
Yeah, but you're saying. You're saying that he's
talking about shit he don't know, Tim. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he's not the only one.
He don't know what that means. Okay. He don't understand tariffs. Bloomberg made a fool out of him. That interview with Bloomberg was probably what made his handlers go no more, because Bloomberg kept pushing back with hard financial questions, and Trump failed. He failed. Bloomberg's interview should have been a walk in the park for a Republican candidate.
No, but I could push, once again, I could push back and say how bad Kamala Harris looked on The View, which should have been a walk in the park, as you say. She went into some liberal outlets, and she still sucked.
No, she didn't. That's an opinion.
You kidding me?
Oh, no. For y'all to say that Trump did well at any time during this year would be biased opinion. Jim, stop it. Cut it out. Quit trying to give these damn Republicans some hope. Because they are sinking fast. Alabama's trying to purge a whole damn district that just got written in because 130% more people registered to vote there than they anticipated. Alabama's fucking scared of Democrats.
I think...
Or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. You cannot tell me different. You cannot tell me anything else. Donald Trump has lost his mind. He is invoking Viktor Orban in the middle of the debate. Viktor Orban is the Yahtzee of Europe. Let's be honest. He's talking to Viktor Orban about making him up some papers for the United States. What's he trying to tell people? He is actually coming out saying with his whole chest, I want to be a dictator like them. And if they don't want to hear that, that's up to y'all. But it don't make anything any different. She's not saying I want to be a fucking dictator. He is.
Well, wait a minute. You're saying, hold on, hang on. You're saying she's not saying she wants, hold on, Andy. You're saying she's not saying she wants to be a dictator. Is she not suggesting that free speech online be limited?
I don't know, but the internet's not handled the same way as the rest of the world. So net neutrality and all that's very different.
In your opinion.
Wait, hold on. Didn't DeSantis come out this week and try to get rid of AB law commercials because he didn't like them? And the judge said, keep it simple, stupid, First Amendment.
Yeah, but you're talking about Ron DeSantis. He's not running for president.
That's Florida. That means Ron's so scared that Democrats could take Florida. Y'all aren't paying attention. There are reasons why these Republicans are behaving this way. They're losing.
All right, I gotta move it on, but
wait.
Real quick.
The damn weather machine they created. They literally think Democrats can create a hurricane to go after. Let's be honest. How much have you got to have reaching for some kind of win that you got to reach for the Democrats got a damn weather machine? Come on, I'm waiting.
Well, the Democrats creating a weather machine, I think, was a ploy to get low information voters that were desperate during the time of need.
Which is most of the Republicans. If you talk to them at the rallies, listen to them. They're out there at the rallies talking about our weather machine. So how many of them are low information voters? All of them? Let's just be honest.
I've been to a couple of Trump rallies, Andy. I don't think they're all low information. That's bad. That's bad of you to say that.
Double haters.
I don't know, but
you got a couple of kind of Republicans. You got low information and the haters, and then you got double haters. People that don't like women, people of color, people of indigenous, people that are from other countries. Immigrants. You got those haters.
Wow. All right, Andy. You drive a hard bargain. You drive a hard bargain.
No, I'm a hard one to wrestle with first thing in the morning, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah.
All right. That is Andy, folks. As I say, we don't block banners since we go left and right. Having dinner with Q, all the way over to Bernie Sanders is your hero. Thank you for the galaxy, Stevie D. Wow, good to see you there. Thank you, Stevie D. She was so right, says, you get older, your damn vision gets worse and worse. Angle fan, no, it's crazy you get older. I must be getting too damn old or staring at the screen for too long because some of this commentary, maybe it's the shirt, I don't know. Tap the screen, get us on up to 20,000. We'll move on to the next caller. Also, I wanted to ask, does character matter in a presidential choice? Now, we're talking about Kamala Harris potentially sleeping her way to the top. Trump has stated and said all kinds of nasty things about folks, up to and including what my last guest suggested, swearing right in front of the Pope. I believe he even got into a spat with the Pope back in 2016. So what I'm asking is, does character matter when choosing a presidential candidate? Or perhaps as long as this candidate is likely to do what will lead this country in the right direction, Maybe you don't care what kind of character they are. I want to ask that question. Real quick, I'm gonna try to read this because it's coming on a side. Trump is a. I'm going. Hang on one sec. What does that say? Trump is a peacemaker and better for the world. And that came off of the thank you for that super chat there on the horizontal platform. In regards to Trump being a peacemaker, Trump is promising to get out of overseas conflicts and focus on America first. So I do want to point that out. I don't know if Trump is even promising to be a peacemaker. If you're going to get out of overseas conflicts, you're going to stop sending money to Israel, stop sending money to the Ukraine, and focus only on America. In my humble opinion, because America is the world's police often, if we stop being the world's police, just like in a society that no longer has police, defund the police style, you know what I'm talking about, you're actually coming closer to anarchy. I would see, and I don't like giving America this huge title of keeping everybody in check because we don't always do what's morally right. We don't have a history of ever always doing that. So I don't believe one nation should be the world's police. But in reality, we kind of are. And if we do what Trump is suggesting, I think you're going to likely have more conflicts break out than less. I mean, keep in mind back in 1990 when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. If we weren't involved, Kuwait would be part of Iraq right now. So Ukraine is going to fall to Russia. My guess is Israel would either be wiped off the map if Trump decides to no longer fund Israel, or better yet, yeah, if we no longer fund Israel, they're gone. Because every nation in the Middle East is going to rise up against Israel. And if we continue funding Israel, the Palestinians are gone. The folks in Lebanon, Hezbollah, all of them groups, they're gone. Because it appears that Netanyahu is not going to stop either. The only way that conflict stops is with American intervention. So I don't see the peacemaker part is what I'm trying to point out. Anyhow, continuing on with the program, and I'm asking, does character matter? Do you, I mean, when it comes to saying controversial shit, insulting people, this is what Trump does. We're talking about Kamala sleeping her way to the top. We would, some folks will say, we're not trying to marry Trump. We're trying to have somebody that runs the country. I'm asking, does character matter at all? Going back to the box, I do want to address one super chat as we bring on, I just screwed something up there, as we bring on the next caller. Hang on a second, I'm trying to, I got so many things going on at once. Michael, good afternoon, welcome to the program. Will G, I think I missed the super chat and the thing reset on me. Will G, appreciate that. Ones in the comments who support Harris are people like me. I am an illegal, oh my God, in a 5-star hotel. Thanks for free everything, says Vote Harris. Someone with the name Vote Harris states the ones that are in the comments section who support Harris are people like me. I am an illegal in a 5-star hotel. Thanks for free. Oh my God. Michael, good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, back in the day when you used to go to the club, did you dance all night? Did you just dance all night, or did you just sort of look around?
I might have been more of a wallflower, but I got out there if the right chick came up.
Well, why do you dance with these motherfuckers on your live every day, man? Why do you let them come on here and be misogynistic about Kamala? Why do you allow them to get into this sleeping her way to the top nonsense?
Well, first of all,
because you know what I know is if women were sleeping their way to the top, there would be no men at the top.
It's a good point.
Period.
Well,
being serious. Go ahead.
To respond to your question, why do I entertain this stuff? First of all, I do believe in free speech, and if I get on here and only entertain opinions I agree with, then that's a biased program, whether I lean right or left. That's what I set out not to do, is to be like there's plenty of social media programs where everybody's wearing a red hat or everybody's bashing Trump. I believe in letting everybody speak. So that's what happens.
I get it, but here's the sad part. There are people that are on your live that believe that that's a thing, right? It's not a thing. It may be a talking point, but it's not a thing. That shit is not, and it doesn't have to do with her. What it does is it undermines what that woman, specifically black woman, has had to do to even get to where she is. And she didn't get there by, because see, we don't fail up. Minorities and black folks, we don't fail up.
True.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. As much as I don't like Clarence Thomas had to go to law school. He had to do what he had to do because we don't fail up. It's not a thing. So it's not a thing.
Yeah, but I gotta push back and say, if we want to hold folks accountable for saying things you think are ridiculous about Kamala Harris, I mean, people say some pretty wild shit about Trump. I mean, everything. Go ahead. What?
Again, but you know, like I know that it is true.
Oh, come on.
It is true, but no.
Not all of it. Not 100% of it.
No. I'm not saying everything that is said about him is true. I'm saying you're right about what you said.
Okay.
However, a lot of the things that we talk about with Trump are quotes directly from him. The majority of conversations that we talk about are direct quotes from him.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't disagree with that, but people get on here and suggest the guy is a racist, or he's wearing a diaper, or he hates women. People suggest bad opinions about Trump too.
Well, I don't get into the diaper stuff, but here's the thing: he's given enough evidence that he doesn't respect women. He's given enough evidence that he's a racist. He's given us enough evidence that he's a sympathizer with racism. I mean, I'm not making that up. He's given us enough himself.
Give me an example of what Trump has done in regards to evidence that he is actually a racist.
Still considering the Central Park Five are guilty when he knew they weren't, and he's been told that they weren't. That's number one.
But wait a minute. The Central Park Five, 5 African Americans accused of some heinous crimes like rape and murder that they didn't do. They were exonerated. Is it possible that he went after them and turned out to be wrong and don't want to apologize because he has an ego? Does it have to be because they're black?
Well, yeah, it absolutely is because they're black. Because I have more evidence that he attacks people of color and minorities. The whole Haitians eating cats and dogs, and the picture he put on his ex about this is what your neighborhood would look like if I'm in office, and here's what it would look like if Kamala's in office. And what did that picture represent? All black and brown people being savages. When he uses terms like vermin, when he uses these things like rapists, when he describes anybody of color, but he never says that about anybody else.
So what are you saying that?
Any more evidence?
Are you saying that Trump wants a white America or something of that nature?
I'm 100% saying he wants a white America. I'm 100% saying he's a fascist. I'm 100% saying Project 2025 is his, and I'm also 100% saying that women and people of color that support him are just like him if they don't see it. Listen, we got 17 days left to an election. People aren't on the fence. They just don't want to come out. Most people don't want to come out and admit the worst of themselves. Who does? No, on either side. People don't want to admit that stuff. So they get into this stuff about sleeping her way up to the top and she's uneducated, but they know that shit is not true. They know that she's educated. I
don't know if necessarily. I hear your point, and I agree with it myself. I don't believe the woman slept her way up to the top. It doesn't make sense. But I believe a lot of folks saying that they actually do believe that.
But here's the thing: there's enough. If they wanted to really find out, they could use the same resources that we do. They could just Google what we just said to get her resume. And when she graduated from college and became a lawyer and a DA and attorney general and Senate and vice president, who has more experience than anyone that's ran for the presidency, right?
Yeah.
They know that. But here's the thing. If they don't, and they thought what I said was wrong, and they truly wanted to find out, they could just Google it and find out that it's true, but they don't want to.
Well, you do understand that if you Googled it and pursued that information, they're not going to trust the sources you got that clarity from.
Say again?
They're not, if you Googled it, if you took the advice you're suggesting, if someone were to do that and get the outcome that you're suggesting they would get about Kamala Harris, they're not likely to trust the sources that presented it.
But and here's the thing: the funny part about it, even if I took that at face value, they would believe that same source that gave them the information that they depend on for Trump.
True, that is true.
So that's where That's where the flat out bullshit comes in. And when I saw you on that other live yesterday, I'm glad you had your camera on. Because you see, I watched that whole.
Why would you bring that shit up?
Because you were looking like, I can't believe what the hell I'm hearing. You couldn't believe that them people, them brothers was talking that, right? And that's what I'm talking about. This is dangerous. This is dangerous stuff. And as much as we go to laugh, and it's dangerous because if you look at the facts and people that want to vote for Trump, if he does what I think he will attempt to do, none of them will own any of that shit. They'll never say they were wrong. They'll just go away.
Right. Before I'm moving on from you, give me the top 3 most concerning things that you think Trump would attempt to do. You said things he might attempt to. Give me 3 things that concern you most that you believe Trump would attempt to do if he becomes president.
He will want to suspend the Constitution.
That really ain't really. I don't even need 2 and 3 after doing some shit like that. But go ahead.
That's all you need is that one, right?
Right.
Here's the thing: for all the MAGAs on here that think that what I'm saying is not true, Trump said about 6 weeks ago about deportation that it would be worse than the Mexican Repatriation Act of, what was it, 1929 or whatever the hell it was, when they deported legal U.S. citizens. He said it would be worse than that. So that's number one. Full immunity. That's number 2.
That ain't his, but he didn't do that. The Supreme Court gave him that shit.
Right. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm sorry. Immunity for police officers.
I'm with you there. All right, number 3. You ain't got to explain that.
And women's rights.
But he's not. Right? But he's not threatening to take away women's rights. What are you talking about?
Sure he is, because if women don't have autonomy and the right to protect their own medical information, which they've said they want to create a software.
Okay, I get it. That makes I get it now.
So again, I didn't even need all 3, Tim. Just the first one was enough.
Yeah.
I didn't even need all 3. You pick any one of those, and it's enough. Okay? Yep. But let me tell you this, and then I'm going to drop it. I'm going to listen. And I want you to remember that I told you this on today, being October 19th. Do not for a second think that the Department of Justice and the FBI have not been following all these communications and all this shit from the very first superseding indictment, because Trump and his cronies are doing the same shit, trying to interfere with this election. Trust me when I tell you. I don't think it will end the same, because I think they're in front of it right now.
Okay.
But I believe that they are being looked at. That is happening, but it is 100% happening. They're not going to see. They had to go get it the last time. I think that they've been under surveillance and all of that shit ever since the end of the last election.
You know, that's an interesting point, because Trump has talked about getting rid of the CIA, 3-letter organizations, FBI. He does speak very unfavorable to all of these organizations. So it would not surprise me if high-ranking members of those organizations had it in for him, because, he's talking about, for the most part, ending their job security and all of that. You could be right on that. You could be.
They have to protect democracy, and people that don't believe it haven't read anything. They haven't read the indictment. If they look at detail, why would they stop when they're still doing it? That's like in any other crime and any other. That's why RICO Acts last for years, right?
Yeah.
When you're under a RICO investigation, it could be 5, 6, 7 years long.
Wow. All right, Michael, you paint a scary picture, though.
And you need to protect her when they come up here talking about sleeping our way to the top. You need to push back.
I do push back. I brought up Melania. I made it clear I don't agree with it. But I believe in free speech. I believe in letting people speak.
I can see your ass at the club, too, being a wallflower stroke. I can see you. You're not going to talk. But last thing I'm going to tell you, because do not bring DJ Julio's crazy ass up here talking that bullshit today. Give us a free Saturday from the madness.
I
listen to Gen X before I listen to Julio.
All right, Mike. Appreciate you coming in. And by the way, both of the individuals he named, Gen X and DJ Julio, proud MAGA, and they have pretty strong, fairly far right opinions. But they both are friends of the show, so I don't know. I believe in free speech. Before I go to the next call, I did want to discuss a couple things he mentioned. Because I did ask him, he believes that Trump is a threat as the next commander-in-chief, and I asked him, give me 3 issues. Everybody says Trump's going to destroy the damn world or the country. Well, give me 3 things you're that concerned about. He stated suspend the Constitution, immunity for police, and a threat to women's rights. First of all, one of the things that, and I know a lot of my beloved MAGA are going to say it's bullshit. Trump is not going to do all of this stuff. He's not going to suspend the Constitution. He's not going to give police immunity, and he certainly has no intention of threatening women's rights. The immediate pushback is, at least the first 2, Trump has said it. I mean, he's came out and said it. So maybe he's lying, maybe it's a joke, maybe it's taken out of context. I get it. But I am one that believes there is absolutely nothing wrong with holding a presidential candidate accountable for the worst that's coming out of their mouth. So if I'm running for office and I say I'm going to harm all white people, doesn't matter if it's a joke. If white people have a problem with that, they damn sure should. That ain't something you joke about. And he did talk about suspending the Constitution. I mean, that's literally the worst that came out of his mouth. And he absolutely has promised to give police immunity from prosecution. Now, the pushback is, well, he's talking qualified immunity. He hasn't said that. When I'm doing this from the makeshift studio, and you see the screen behind me, and I put him up there, he said it in multiple locations. And not once has he ever used the word qualified. He says we're going to get crime down in liberal cities, and we're going to work with liberal mayors and liberal governors, and we're going to give the police immunity from prosecution. Now, I've said on a number of lives, for me personally, that's probably the most concerning thing that I have with former President Trump. Simply put, while I have 0 criminal history, my record is cleaner than most damn cops. However, I drive about 80 to 90 miles a day for a living. I'm on the road driving around in the car. That's why a lot of the lives you see. That's why you see me in the car so damn much. Oftentimes I'm working, not today, but oftentimes I am working. The idea that I could be pulled over by a cop that has complete immunity scares the shit out of me. Because at the end of the day, while I have no criminal history at all, I know if I had immunity, I might do some shit that I shouldn't do. Because I got immunity. There's 0 accountability. So with him promising to do that for cops, that frightens me. And then he deliberately says in liberal cities where most people there look like me. So I'm not a fan of, giving cops that basically address black people immunity. And then, of course, he talks about stop and frisk. That frightens me. And like I said, that came out of his mouth. The third one he mentioned is women's rights. I'm not told. Now, I know what happened with rolling back Roe v. Wade, and there are states that are talking about monitoring women's pregnancies and things like that. Fact is, they want women to give birth. I'll address the super chats on YouTube after this, but real quick, my opinion is this. I know a hell of a lot of you folks are going to disagree with this. I may lose some viewers after I say this shit, but this is free speech, and it damn sure applies to me too. Appreciate the hat and mustache alter ego. Thank you. Yeah. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 40,000. This is going to be controversial, but it's about free speech here. You certainly feel entitled to criticize the hell out of me in the comments. Makes sense, I'll even read it and maybe concede to the point. I believe in free speech just that much. But I will say this, in my humble opinion, there are a large amount of folks in this country that are sick and tired of us having to bring in foreigners to do different types of jobs. They would rather those jobs be filled by Americans because foreigners bring over their language, their culture, their religion, and they can fundamentally change the way the country operates. This is when Trump talks about, quote unquote, poisoning the blood of the nation. You're doing things that go against the American culture that maybe the founding fathers intended. There are people that are sick of that. They want Americans to do those jobs. They don't want it to get to the point where we need foreigners come in and fill all these damn jobs. Best way to do that, shut the border and do what you can to promote more American births. That's what you're hearing right now. Shut the border and do everything you can to promote more Americans being born. The people don't necessarily get a total say-so in it, but this is what's happening. So I do believe there are a certain amount of folks, and the women in this is the whole women's right part of this. The women are not going to get a say-so in this. It's a matter of, we need you to give birth to more Americans. If you don't agree, so be it, but we need you to participate. And they're not going to give them any say-so in this. I do believe that's kind of why you're seeing the rolling back of Roe v. Wade, because you want more Americans to keep this country and the culture pure the way it used to be. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, by the way, as I said, tap the screen. We should be around 40,000. I'll go to the box shortly. I wanted to address a few super chats. They move the goalposts and make excuses, and it's disgusting. If it's not sleeping to the top, it's not having biological children, says Will G. The goalpost does get moved. The goalpost, I don't, like I said, I'm going to make it clear. In my last call, it was chastising me for this. I don't personally believe Kamala Harris slept her way to the top. Simply put, as I said earlier, her promotions came from elected positions. Willie Brown doesn't have the power to do that. He doesn't have the power to get her elected as senator in California or vice president. He didn't have the power to do all of that. So I don't buy into it from that standpoint. Maybe she could have slept with the guy and he gave her one promotion. He didn't give her all of the damn promotions. And by the way, once she's on the job, she's got to live up to the qualifications. He can't just keep promoting somebody that sucks at all these positions. She clearly was earning her way along the way. To me, that's the only explanation I have for it. But I understand if you don't like Kamala Harris, you're going to come up with whatever you can to demonize her, just like some folks who don't favor former President Trump. Real quick in the comments also, Sid, America is doomed. Wow, that's dark. Killed so many innocent people globally. Well, shit, we should have been doomed from day one. America was founded on killing innocent people. We've been getting away with it the whole time. I would submit to you this. We probably are killing less innocent people now than any other point in history. So I don't know if I would agree with you that we are doomed because we're killing innocent people. We've really cut back, so to speak. Will G, thank you. Appreciate that dub. Will, thank you. Will G says you could imagine if Harris said something bad about Irish Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans, everyone would be in an uproar, but because these are brown immigrants, they lie about it. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I would suggest that there's probably some validity to that. And that's what the whole program is about. Trump literally surviving every damn thing. I will agree that Trump has said things that a mere mortal would have lost their whole political career for. And he said a lot of different things like that. I mean, we can start out with the grab him by the you-know-what, but he said a whole lot of other things that are very, very controversial. And yet, here we are. He still has a really good chance of being president. I think the average politician would be toast. If they had said even a portion of some of the highly controversial things that Trump has said, such as suspending the Constitution. He's the first Republican to ban bump stocks, yet they're blaming the liberals for taking away Second Amendment rights. Yet he's on tape saying that sometimes you got to take away guns first and then give people due process. And the right views him as if he's a Second Amendment champion. I think any other right-wing or certainly left-wing member of the political sphere had said and done some of the things Trump did, they would be over with. So I do give a man credit. His survivability skills are off the chain. Did you hear that he would cut the Department of Education and not send money to the states teaching true history? I didn't hear about the part where he's going to withdraw federal funds if a state is teaching the children true history. That's terrible. But I know he doesn't like the Department of Education. That part I already know. I didn't hear about the last part you're saying, but like I stated, Trump has no love for the Department of Ed, so I'm going to say it doesn't sound that hard to believe. Continuing on with the program, thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get us on up to maybe 50,000. A lot, like I said, I'm getting it, but it's moving very slow for you folks that are tapping the screen. Sammy Kennedy Good evening. Welcome to the program, Sammy.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Thank you for letting me join your live.
Thank you.
If there's any veterans in there, I thank you for your service. I salute you.
Same.
Okay, I want to go on about this thing with the cops, the immunity.
Yeah.
The immunity is not for a cop that beats you up for a criminal case. What the immunity is for, if a cop is on duty and he says something you don't like, you can only sue the police department or the city, not the police officer. Now, if he's at home and not on duty, he does not have that right.
Where are you getting all this definition? Okay, Trump never said any of what you said. He said we're going to give police immunity in liberal cities and liberal states to get crime. He's talking about bringing crime down. He didn't say anything. All of the stuff you're adding in there, he never said any of that.
Never said none of what? I read it.
I've heard him say it.
I was in another live and some guy.
Go ahead.
But the immunity is supposed to be for a police officer when he's on duty. Not if he commits a crime towards somebody, but where you cannot sue the police officer himself.
Why do you
That's what the immunity is about.
Okay, here's why I have an issue with what you're saying. Trump used the words immunity from prosecution. When you're sued, nobody is trying to prosecute you. Prosecution is criminal. He said immunity from prosecution. You're talking about lawsuits. That ain't what he's talking about.
But that's what the immunity is supposed to be for, is what I'm saying.
But that ain't what he is saying. That's what you are saying. He said prosecution. What is he talking about?
I didn't hear that. I'm going by what somebody else showed in a live. They pulled it right up on their computer, and we read the whole thing. He read little by little. You can see everything, and he showed it. It's supposed to be for when the cop is on duty.
Okay. Well, like I said,
a crime like they did with George Floyd or the guy in Indianapolis.
So you're saying that
he said them people will be.
Derek, wait, hold on. You're saying Derek Chauvin, the one that went to prison for 20 years for being on George Floyd's neck, it would have given him immunity?
No.
Then what are you saying?
That's what I'm saying. He's not giving them cops immunity.
Okay.
To get out of jail, or if, like they did with George Floyd was wrong. Like they did with that young man in Indianapolis, the 5 cops. They were wrong.
So what? Let me ask you to you this way. What is it that cops cannot do today that Trump wants them to be able to do? What is he trying to give them immunity to do tomorrow that they cannot currently do today?
He wants the cops to have communication with the pedestrians. He wants communications in the neighborhoods. He wants everything. Everything's not going to be, sweet and dandy.
That ain't what I don't know.
We're still going to have our ups and downs in life.
I'm asking you. He wants to give cops immunity, which means he wants to protect them from something when he's in office that they are currently not protected from. What is it that they cannot do right now that he needs to give them immunity so they can do?
Well, let's see, when I was growing up, that they really can't do today is beat the shit out of people. Too many people got cell phones. They recording stuff. You asked me a question, I'm answering your question.
You damn right you are. You're doing a really fucking good job, but keep going. You're doing a really good job. Go ahead, keep going. You're doing good. Keep it going.
But, like cops like that, they don't get immunity because
they kicking somebody's ass. Right. They don't get immunity because they're breaking the law. They're beating the hell out of somebody. Do you want those cops to be allowed to do that?
Right. And no, they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
All right. So in other words, this immunity thing is not a good idea.
It's already in.
It's not in.
That's been in for years.
Then what is he promising then? If it's already there, why is he going around saying he's going to give he's going to give police immunity from prosecution? What is he promising if what you're saying is true, that it's already there? What is he talking about?
How is he going to give a cop that took somebody and unalived them and give them immunity? That don't make sense. He talks about these immigrants coming over that are killers coming from other countries' penitentiaries. You think he's going to give a cop that unalived somebody immunity?
You sound like you turning blue right in the middle of the conversation. You sure you ain't voting for Kamala?
I'm an anarchy.
Oh. All right, but I think though, with us talking, Sammy,
I'm totally against the governor.
So you're against immunity?
Pardon me?
You're against immunity?
Yes.
Okay. You're voting. So
that do bad.
Are you going to vote for Trump?
I am.
But so his immunity thing is not affecting you, obviously, then.
I'm not buying that.
Okay. Well,
that's the thing. I'm not buying that he's giving police officers immunity for unaliving people. I don't buy that.
I don't, you made a good point. I'm hoping that he's not going to give police immunity for taking somebody's life either. The problem I have with it is he's not being clear what he's going to give immunity for, which is why when I asked you personally, what is he giving immunity for tomorrow that they can't do today? And even you didn't have an answer. We don't know what the hell he's talking about. We're just hoping it's not to.
I don't.
Right, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yes.
All right. Sammy, I got to move it on. Go ahead. Finish up.
Yes, thank you for letting me join your live.
Anytime. Come on back through.
I say thank you, bro. You have a great day. I still love you. Regardless who you vote for, I still love y'all, man.
All right. Good talk. Moving on with I think there was a slight delay, which is why I kind of ended it early. But listen, at the end of the day, I don't mind the pushback. I don't mind adverse political opinions. In fact, I invite them. And me and my last guest may have had a difference of opinion, but that doesn't mean anything. He's always invited back. Real quick in the comment section, I am an illegal doing life in prison in South America, then was sent to North America. Now I am in a 5-star hotel. Vote Harris. The problem with your comment, Vote Harris, is you're saying the same thing. First you said you're voting for Kamala because you're an illegal. Now you're talking about you was an illegal doing. We get the sarcasm. I think at this point it's fairly clear what you're saying is not true, but I do appreciate you inputting and stating it. Why are people voting for someone who has said in plain English what he will do, but then people say, no, he won't do that? What the fuck? But that is one of the benefits. And that's what I said about character, and certainly in regards to President Trump, about him being Teflon Don. I will explain that. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 60,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. On YouTube, feel free to smash that like button as well. We don't block, ban, or censor. By the way, if you do enjoy civilized dialogue in this manner, where everyone gets to speak, listen, being critical is not an issue here. We do believe in free speech, left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. If you favor this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. We will be here every day until Election Day. Otherwise, Monday through Friday is the normal schedule. But in regards to your suggestion that Trump, people voting for somebody who says in plain English what they're going to do, but then people say he won't do it. I don't have an explanation for that, because it is true that Trump makes a lot of controversial statements. And then when you present this as a reason that maybe why you don't favor him or why you might not vote for him, his supporters say, well, he didn't really mean it that way. Like my last caller is adamant that Trump is not talking about immunity for taking somebody's life. He might be right. I hope so. But the problem is Trump did say the words immunity from prosecution. When I'm in my makeshift studio, I literally have him on a screen. You're seeing him say it on stage. It's coming out of his mouth. Not once does he ever use the word qualified immunity. Never comes out of his mouth. And then, of course, for folks who don't believe he's trying to give people immunity to take people's lives and things like that, like my last caller didn't believe it. When you asked him to explain then what the hell is he talking about, they don't know. All we know is he's offering police immunity, and he has not clarified it. Very similar to how the Supreme Court gave him immunity without clarification. That could mean any damn thing. I don't want to find out how much immunity law enforcement has when I'm pulled over on the side of the street getting the shit beat out of me. I need that defined before that happens. I don't want my last words to be, damn, I didn't think y'all could do all that. I don't want that to be the last words to come out of my mouth. Tap the screen. Let me move back to the box. His people, Mayhem. Thank you for the lovely Halloween ghost. Thank you. Appreciate the support. His people love that he isn't politically correct, and when he says stupid shit, they want to politically correct it. You know, and that's 100% valid. I will say this, though. If we like Trump, because he shoots straight from the hip, he calls it as he sees it, then why is it so wrong to give him accountability for calling it as he see it? I don't understand that, because when you actually address his quotes verbatim, people say, well, you're taking him out of context, or he really didn't mean it that way. What happened to calling it as you see it? Shooting straight from the hip. Now all of a sudden it's got to be interpreted to mean something else. That doesn't make any sense to me. But continuing on with the program, are we going to remain in a free country? I don't think either side believes so if the candidate of choice does not win. The right believes that if Kamala Harris wins, she's immediately going to go for the First and Second Amendment. The limitation of free speech on social media, there's a lot of examples where people can say, see, the liberals want to take away the First Amendment. And then, of course, we know the liberals are not totally a fan of shall not be infringed. So you would more, but then again, like I said earlier in the program, if there is any president in our lifetime that has actually infringed on the Second Amendment, it's Trump. He actually banned bump stocks. I mean, nobody else has actually did anything. They talked about it. Trump is the only president in our lifetime to actually infringe on the Second Amendment. But you know how folks feel about that. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on, I think this says YouTube. Gerald MC, one of my subscribers. Good afternoon. Always give my subscribers first digs. Got to do that. Gerald, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
What's going on, handsome liberal?
You know how it is, hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. So, what do you think about character? Does that matter when you're trying to elect a president, or is it okay for them to have awful character flaws as long as they lead the country down the right path?
How can you lead the country down the right path if you have character flaws? Does your character play a part in your decision making?
Depends on who you ask.
I know, but I'm standing on the outside. I'm voting for somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how much his character is going to influence or how much his character is not going to influence. I got to go by what he said.
Yeah.
Well, go by what I think he might want to do.
Let me ask you this way. Now, we had 4 years of Trump. We don't know necessarily how Kamala Harris would lead, but we had 4 years of Trump. How do you think he did?
Some things he did pretty good on. Other things he didn't.
Would you
for example,
would you give him another 4?
Would I?
Yeah. No. Why not?
No, because of what he says. The words coming out of his mouth. I mean, even though I hear supporters are like, he doesn't really mean that, he don't really mean this, or he don't really mean that. I can't go by that. What if he does? How do you know he doesn't mean that? He's saying that's what he wants to do. And, we always talking about the immigration thing. Let's go back to his first 2 years in office. He had the House, the Senate, and the judiciary. He had the royal flush.
Yeah.
He didn't build no wall. All he did was a tax cut for the rich. He got that through. He didn't do jack with the wall. And he can't say that Pelosi and all them blocked it in his first 2 years because he had control of both houses.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean...
I can't argue with it. I can't argue with it.
He was going to make all these big changes. He didn't do it. All he did was made his rich folks richer. And then he gave us a tax break that expires. We're going to give the rich folks folks, we're going to give them the cookies, the formula for the cookies, the recipe for the cookies, and all of that. We're going to give you other folks a twist of the Oreo at the top. And that's it. When you get through eating the top of the Oreo.
So so it's safe to assume you believe that Trump is for the rich.
Oh, of course he is. That's his boys. Why would he not be?
Now in the comments, hell of a name, is pushing back and said that Trump never had total control. Now the Democrats have had total control in multiple instances. So he's saying that Trump never had enough power to get those things done.
Go look at your history. Go look at who was in control of the House, the Senate.
Yeah.
It was the Republicans.
Yeah. It ain't that he, yeah.
If we're going to hold Biden accountable, we need to hold him accountable also.
Yeah.
He was the leader with the royal flush.
Yeah, it's not that Trump did not have total control. It's that he didn't have enough love coming from his Republican senators in Congress. Because remember John McCain goes up there and gives him a thumb down. If John McCain didn't do that, he would have repealed Obamacare. So it's not that he didn't have total control. He didn't have what it takes to unify Republican senators and Republican Congress to get his signature legislation. And by the way, I would state this. I don't think he has that today. I think the guy is divisive enough that he still would probably get a hell of a lot of pushback from Republican senators and members of Republican Congress because of the name calling and how much he insults them.
I agree. But we're talking about the presidency and we're holding people accountable to what they get done or what they don't get done.
True.
Period.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to hold him accountable because he couldn't do it because of McCain or whatever. Or we're not going to hold Biden accountable because this last Congress was a joke. They didn't do jack.
Yeah.
So, but we holding Biden accountable for what happened.
Well, I disagree with you on this last Congress. I think they were very effective. If the goal is to help Trump get reelected and obstruct Biden's administration, I think they were very effective.
Okay, so then we holding Biden accountable to it, right?
Well, not that. Well, yeah, no.
Accountable to the country's results.
Yeah, and it's unfair to Biden. I get your point.
Man, think about it. When they had the bill where they were going to do something with the border, right? They had the border, but then they threw in the
money for the Ukraine.
Ukraine stuff in behind it.
Right.
So they said, "Oh no, it's too much stuff." They threw that out. When they threw that out, then they went and passed the two things that they threw out. What the hell?
But I will tell you this: the idea that we don't want to enact this border bill because it's got money for the Ukraine and Israel. I do believe the liberals could have took that out and they would have still been against it because the bill was thrown out to help Trump. That was just an excuse. At the end of the day, if they had removed money to the Ukraine, removed any money to Israel, they would have said, well, the bill don't go far enough in some way or a fashion or form. There ain't enough judges being hired, or you're still letting in too many immigrants. They would have came up with a different reason not to like it because they needed it to go away.
But that was the words they used. The words out of their mouth was that stuff shouldn't have been in there, and that stuff couldn't have been there. This is no good. This stuff is no good.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and they kill the bill with the border protection on it. That the border protection and all these guys were for it because it added more manpower, it added more power, it added more things to help this situation. And then they turn around, I don't know if it was like 2 months later and pass the other two.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, you had it. I think the guy from Oklahoma, one of the guys that authored the bill, came out and said he received a phone call and he was told, if you help the Democrats secure the border, your career is over with. I mean, it's pretty clear. They came out and admitted it, so it's pretty clear that they didn't want a border bill passed. They wanted to run on it as opposed to solve it.
Yeah, and that's the kind of mess that just tears me up when they do stupid stuff like that.
Well, but it might get them real.
From an election standpoint, it's all about winning. It ain't about us. It's all about winning. It ain't about us at all.
I don't disagree with that. And Will G in the comments, Will G on YouTube says Trump wants total autonomy. Wow. He will defer. He will definitely, he would definitely run his favorite. Okay, he will deferred run to his favorite SCOTUS to get it. I don't quite get the second half of that. Do you believe Trump wants total autonomy?
I think he wants it. Will he be able to get it? No. I think he'll spend most of his presidency trying to get it, but he won't get it. Because there are some sensible Republicans. There are some sensible Democrats. I mean, there's nut Democrats and there's nut Republicans. But there's some sensible ones in there too.
So you don't believe this whole he's going to be a dictator thing would ever come to fruition?
I can't see how he could do it. But that doesn't mean that he don't want to do it. Yeah. That doesn't mean he won't try to do it. But I can't see how he'll make it happen.
What about abortion rights going federal? Is there any chance of that?
It depends on the Congress. It depends on how the Congress comes out. If the Democrats get Congress, then there's a possibility. But if not, no, because if it's a split house, either will reject the bill.
Okay. Well, he is saying, Trump and other fellow Republicans are saying they don't even want to have a federal abortion ban. Do you believe the liberals are going to get all the women's votes? So I always give a shout. Thinks the liberals are going to get all the women's votes. So I always give a shout out to the females. I get female mag on the program, so shout out to the female Republicans out there. But some of that, in regards to, I think that like we're talking about the notion that Kamala Harris or limitation on the internet. Some people bring up that, listen, she wants to limit your First Amendment rights, or the Second Amendment. With people bring up the Second Amendment that the Democrats are trying to limit that. I think people can see what they want to see when it's coming from the opposition. I often bring up Trump talking about a year in prison for anybody that burns the U.S. flag. Burning the flag has been ruled already that is protected free speech. So if he puts you in jail for it, he's taking away your First Amendment rights. You may agree with doing that, giving somebody a year in prison for burning the flag because you're okay with that. You're okay with protecting the flag. You don't believe somebody should be able to burn the flag. But it is going against your First Amendment rights. Just like plenty of people on the left would favor censoring some of the racist and hateful comments you see on Elon Musk's X site. That site has a lot of hate, and you can see people get killed on that site and every damn thing. Yet it's wrong for a kid to witness a drag queen show or something like that. You realize all of the shit you can see and hear on X? So some liberals favor it. I'm for free speech. Make no mistake about it. I would open all that shit up. I'm for free speech, but I just want to say some people can see limitations only when it's coming from the other side. For instance, I brought up Trump not only offering to give police immunity from prosecution, but he's talking about bringing back stop and frisk. That's been ruled to be a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You're losing rights with Trump, and people, if you support Trump, you only see where Democrats are a threat to your rights. Democrats are going to take away the First Amendment. Democrats are going to take away the Second Amendment. But I'm okay with stop and frisk or putting flag burners in prison. Well, then you're okay with losing some rights. As long as it favors your mindset, you're okay with it. Because he's clearly promising to do it too. Definitely. Lindsey Graham said he wanted a federal abortion ban. It won't take much for Republicans to fall in line if they have the numbers. I could not agree with that statement more. Before I go back to the next caller, I asked my last caller, does he believe the Republicans want a federal abortion ban? Now, he gave a good answer. Look, I take them at their word. They say they don't, all that. But I would easily point out the 3 Supreme Court justices that led people to believe they weren't going to relitigate Roe versus Wade to begin with. So people do lie. But in regards to a federal abortion ban, Will G is right. Lindsey Graham did talk about a federal abortion ban, but it's not just Lindsey Graham. Mitch McConnell said it. Mike Pence when he was running for election, when Mike Pence was running for president, he came out and said he would be doing it from the Oval Office. You didn't hear a lot of right-wing criticism or uproar about him saying that. If he had said he believes that a biological boy should be able to play for a girl's team, people would have ape shit. But he's talking about if he wins, he'll be, ruling from the Oval Office as a pro-life president. There was no pushback. So we've heard it from Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and former President Trump is on video saying it could happen. He is on video saying it could happen. The quiet part out loud, as some might say. My take on it is this. Rolling back Roe v. Wade, primarily promoted by the evangelicals, is about saving the life of the unborn. They believe a child in the womb should have a chance at life, should have rights. It never was about states' rights. You never ever, the evangelicals are about saving lives. They're not about giving some states the right to kill. So the whole idea that it can't go federal makes absolutely no sense. That doesn't even fit the narrative of the mission statement. The mission statement is to save lives, not to give the states the ability to choose whether they want to kill things or not. That never was the mission statement. So the idea that it can't go federal, if they have the ability to do so, is bullshit. I'll tell you right off the bat. If, as Will stated on YouTube, and thank you for the super chat, Will, as he stated, if they get the numbers, it's going to go federal. I don't think a federal abortion ban would piss off a single Republican. So it's about saving the life of the unborn. They would just say, well, yeah, I guess more babies are going to get to live. They wouldn't push back against that. So it is, well, they just want to give it to the states. No, they want to give it to the states now, but it's a stepping stone. It never was about states' rights. The evangelicals are not talking about saving lives. They're talking about saving lives. They're not talking about giving states the right to choose. Anyhow, looking in the comments before we continue on, but when a child is born and a parent doesn't want the baby, our Republic is willing to take care of the child. And it says that came from Tracy. No, flat out no. Republican Party tends to believe in self-responsibility, self-reliance. So once you have the baby, you can expect very little assistance. Look, at the end of the day, they're going to tell you exactly what they're telling you about the abortion ban. You should have kept your legs closed. You should have thought about it before you engaged in unprotected sex. You're not going to get a lot of assistance for these babies from the Republican Party. And I've said before on the program that if you have a woman that continues irresponsibly creating children in a state that does not let her terminate the pregnancy, and she got 5 or 6 kids on welfare, they're going to start coming up with punitive measures. Just like with guys, you know what they did with child support. You can lock a guy up, suspend his license. They're going to start coming up with punitive measures. That would be next. Maybe we need to castrate you. If you don't seem to realize that you are responsible for these children and you're going to just keep doing this, maybe we need to sterilize you. There are already states, I played the video the other night because so many folks on the right didn't believe it. There's 4 states out there already that have tried to pass a law. Actual congressional members, representatives in those states. I know Missouri was one, South Carolina was one. I can't remember the other 2. Texas, I believe, was in there too. To make a woman that is found guilty of having an abortion qualify for the death penalty. 4 states have already tried to do that. 4. Missouri, South Carolina, I'm certain of. It was Texas, and there's another state out there. 4 states have already tried to do that. So, yeah, if a woman is irresponsible, she keeps popping out babies she can't afford, I could easily see them talking about either sterilizing her or locking her up. Yeah, there's going to be punishment for that. You're not just going to be allowed to keep having kids in those states that have those bans. It's not going to happen. Missouri piece of shit governor is trash, says Chaz. Yikes. No, it was the doctors performing them. Get your facts right, bro, says Brian James. If terminating the pregnancy is indeed murder, and you want the person that does it to be punished for murder, what if the woman, not having access to any medical professional, tries to ingest a certain amount of drugs or partake in physical activity to terminate the baby herself? You going to tell me that death penalty or whatever penalty they have is not going to apply to her? It's going to go beyond the doctors. That's crazy. If you're going to suggest that a doctor performing the termination of a pregnancy is committing murder, then if the mom deliberately terminates her own pregnancy, it's the same crime. It's absolutely coming. And I'll tell you this, the right doesn't want to actually admit how far this shit is going to go because we got an election coming. But it's going to go in those directions. And I get a lot of folks in the program that agree with it already anyway. Real quick before we continue, and I do want to address a super chat on my, I'll go to the next caller, but in regards to this, Red, I cannot pronounce that, says, hey Tim, I saw you on the, oh my God. You folks who saw me on the live yesterday, I just want to read this real quick. Made me appreciate your show even more. You're definitely got thick skin. Yeah, I was on a live yesterday, and I know I look goofy as hell with these reading glasses on, but the text sometimes I can't see. But I was on a live yesterday, hosted by an African American gentleman. He's MAGA. Talk to him a lot. I like to speak to black MAGA. That's no problem there. But he was literally trying to convince me that the slave trade did not happen or is inaccurate. You know, ships bringing slaves to America from Africa. He's like, well, where is the ships at? and one of the viewers pointed out where there's one of them that has been sunk off the coast of Mobile, Alabama. Well, where's the manifest at? How do we know slaves were? He really was critiquing, because he was suggesting that maybe there were blacks from South America and south of the border, what we know is the border now, and those were the ones, or Native Americans, those were the ones that were put into the slave trade. But there were not ships that brought folks over because there's no record of it. And I'm thinking, like, do you realize how much of our history, certainly in regards to slavery, that they've tried to cover up or erase? Funny stuff. Anyhow, Republicans will steal the ban in the middle of the night when people on defense or asleep. What do you mean by steal the ban? Republicans will steal the ban in the middle of the night when people are on defense or asleep. I don't quite get that one, Will. Going back to the box. YouTube, Brazil. I don't know what that says, Brazil. Good evening. Welcome to the program. And by the way, thank you folks that are tapping the screen. I would like to get to about 80,000. There's so many lazy thumbs in here. Also, real quick, what I normally would be doing right now is watching Colorado Buffalo. Somebody let me know what the score. Deion Sanders out there in Colorado. Well, he's actually on the road in Arizona, I think. Somebody let me know what the score of the Colorado Buffaloes game is. Hopefully he's going to win this one. Looking in the comments, the area ship in Mobile, Alabama is African town. Well, the guy was trying to suggest it didn't happen, that the slave trade did not happen. It's crazy. Colorado's winning 28-7. All right, you guys just made my day. You're going to stop calling my thumbs lazy. I tell you, I need that. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. You know, my favorite guest. We love MAGA here. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. But we ask you to tap the screen, smash that like button for that very reason. It helps the program out. And that's why we ask. But if you guys favor this type of dialogue back and forth with an open forum from all sides of the aisle, follow the program on TikTok and subscription on YouTube. We are here Monday through Friday, but because there's only like a handful of days until election day, we're going to be here every day until then. Pass the bill, says Will. Pass the bill in the middle of the night? So a bill like that? Ooh. He's saying they would pass a federal abortion ban in the middle of the night. Ooh. And you'd have a whole lot of women outside in the morning. I think that would make women revolt. I don't know, though. Many slave ships were sold as cargo ships and renamed. Some of the slave forts in Western Africa are still there. You know, it ain't even worth arguing. I was just surprised to see a black man trying to suggest this is how history gets lost. You know, the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery, and, you know, the Confederate flag is all about love and pride. This is how history gets lost when you got people doing that. Let me go back to the box. Double Luck. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Double Luck.
Tim, you got to stop spreading this misinformation.
What am I spreading wrong?
Okay, first of all, you said Trump called that he was going to suspend the Constitution. Okay, words matter.
Okay.
He did not say suspend. He did not say amend. He said terminate. So there is a difference
Shit,
in those,
oh my God.
in those things.
You just turned a double into a home run. God damn.
I would like to say, you know, I'm a veteran. That's a big thing for me. You got people in the chat thinking that, a president isn't allowed to do all these things. I live in a state right now that's totally red. They are not allowed to do things here, and they're doing it. And then you have to play defense, and then you have to go around and sue them and everything else. Also, we're under the assumption that we have these checks and balances. Okay, as long as they're checking you. But if you have people just getting in line, I mean, I used to vote either party. You know, I was a Republican for a long time when I was serving, but not anymore, because to me, the GOP sold out with respect to this whole era under Trump, because they're more concerned with power than they are the people.
Wow.
And
what makes you say that? I mean, I kind of think I know, but I want you to elaborate on it. What makes you say the current GOP is more concerned with power than the
they
people?
used to always, you know, they used to have somewhat of a moral high ground, say, you know, things about integrity and leadership and being the moral, the lighthouse of the world and all these things, this shining beacon on a hill. We are not that. I don't even think we're probably one of the freest countries anymore. We're not who we said we were. And one thing you said earlier, it has never been true. We've never always just done the right thing. No country does the right thing. They just do what's in their own best interest.
Right,
So
right.
I get that part of it, being on the military side, but people wrongly believe that we have this code of ethics now that people followed customs and courtesies. And Trump has not followed customs and courtesies. And he is if he's exposed anything, and I know you always take people to task on that exposure thing. You know, hey,
You promised to drain the swamp, not expose it. That is meaningless.
You don't bring somebody in the house to expose your
right.
Your cabinet, you know? So, but what he has exposed is how weak our systems are in this country in terms of what we thought were to be true. Just like right now, we still don't have a situation where what do we do if a person just decides, hey, I'm not leaving the White House. I'm gonna squat in here, and there is no system in place that says who goes and evicts somebody from this White House. There's nothing there. So people wrongly believe, oh, well, they're not going to be allowed to do this. Hey, there's no enforcement mechanism in any of this stuff.
Yeah, I gotta agree that, and I've said before in the program a number of times. There's like 4 things I lay out. Whereas I believe that once Trump is no longer in power, they're going to come up with bipartisan support. They're going to be like some, I guess you could rename them anti-Trump laws, because you are right. Trump has exposed a lot of weaknesses and loopholes in the way our system was set up, and kind of tried to exploit them to the point where, just like with Mike Pence in the certification of the election, they now had to pass a law.
That's the one thing that they have changed that's for the good.
Right.
It's clear now that says, hey, this is not anything other than a ceremonial thing now. So they actually made it clear now.
Yeah.
So I believe you to be true, though. Once he's out,
yeah,
they are going to come by and say, hey, we got to do this, that, and the other. But
he reminds me, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, and some of you folks may have, Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. There was a submarine military movie called Crimson Tide, where the two, you had the first in command and the second in command fighting over whether they could fire off the nuclear, and they had to, and this is based on a true story, where they had to later rewrite the law to determine so it doesn't happen again. And I think that's what Trump has done, is he's done so many things that we're going to have to rewrite the law and say, well, if a president commits a crime while in office, can he pardon him on his own self? If he's in jail, can he serve while in jail? I mean, nobody ever thought this stuff was going to happen.
If you're convicted, will you be able to actually run? You know,
right.
They'll put that in there. I do think your original question, though, about does character matter? To me, that's the only thing that matters. I mean, because at the end of the day, you yourself as a president can't really do anything anyway. It's all getting all these other people to decide, you know, or to go along with you. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about character, you're talking about the leadership qualities and everything else that a person has. And if you were, you know, one of the key traits they would teach us in the armed forces is that, hey, a leader has to be selfless. You have to put the mission above. You have to put the mission and then the people above your own self.
You don't think Trump is doing that? A lot of folks say that.
You know better than that. You quit playing. Quit playing. He is not. It's all about him. Everybody knows it's about him. You know.
Then why do so many folks view Trump as a true patriot, doing what's best for this country, and they believe that the Democrats are the ones that are tearing the country up?
Nobody would play or joke about terminating the Constitution. There is no way. So when people say this, and they never ever can answer this question. If someone is pro-American, they'll talk about, well, you know, I had one today, guys talking about, well, you know, Bill Clinton was getting a BJ in the White House.
Right.
I said, okay, so I don't care. Where in the Constitution, which is worse? And they act like there's not degrees of things. And I think this is why I think the Christian right has been duped by Trump, because the belief is, and you know this growing up in that faith, is a sin is a sin is a sin and a sin. You know, it doesn't matter if you're lying or you're unaliving someone, it's all the same.
Right.
So they expose that same standard onto politicians. It doesn't matter that the person lies because everybody lies. But we as human beings, that may be true in a spiritual sense. As human beings, though, we have degrees of things.
Yeah.
We have different grades of laws that apply to different things. That someone could pass away, and we have things called manslaughter, first degree, second degree, third degree, murder, everything else. I mean, so there's degrees of what we will claim that we're going to hold people to. But at the end of the day, if you can't, it's when you're talking about leadership, it's all about trust. And if you say, hey, well, you know, would you vote for someone who's committed SA, you know, against a person, whatever? Well, you know, it's this, that, and the other, and she may have wanted it, or you know, it wasn't crime, it wasn't a felony, it was some civil thing. Okay, fine. Let's say this. People will say, and I saw it in the chat too, like, well, you know, someone may not be able to do this just because they're saying it doesn't need to be. Okay, look at your own kid. Say you got a toddler in the house, and you got a person that's been charged with SA. You got cameras all in your house. Oh no, you can see if they're going to do anything. There's protections in place. They can't molest the kid. Are you going to hire that person, or are you just going to get somebody else?
That's a good point.
You don't have to. I mean, just because you have protections you think are in place, you don't want to even give the person anywhere close to what this is.
So listening to your statement, am I correct in saying you believe that Trump has kind of basically disqualified himself from being able to run?
Yeah, and I would say, you know, the Constitution itself says, and I'm a big believer on that. The Constitution says who's qualified.
Okay.
So the qualifications, you know, it's a very low bar. Most everybody in this life qualifies to be the president. You know, you got to be 35. You had to have lived in this country for a minimum amount of time, and you can't be naturalized and all this other stuff.
Right.
At the end of the day, though, most of us qualify. We as Americans, though, have to decide who is fit. And I think he himself has made himself unfit. And like I said, from the military angle, the whole thing with why are you, first of all, and the big thing for me in the beginning was, Russia, are you listening? That was it for me.
Yeah, you're talking about what Hillary Clinton's emails.
Made me stop supporting them. And I was like, hey, that's a foul, because even if you're having a squabble with your own sibling, you don't call somebody else to come in off the street to help you whip your sibling's ass. It's just not a right thing to do.
But what about the notion that he was just joking or was taken out of context?
I don't think he's just joking. This is about one of the only conspiracy theories I believe. I believe that Russia really did do something. They hacked both the DNC and the RNC, and I think Trump does have dirt on people that are in the Republican Party because they got in line so easily.
Wow.
You had people that were saying so many, you know, I mean, everybody was like, oh, this guy's everything the left is saying that he is, but now they get in line behind him. And I think a lot of them, due to not wanting to be exposed themselves, there's dirt on them. When he kicked the interpreter out in Helsinki from the very beginning, when he first became a president, why are you kicking someone out unless you're doing something shady?
I get the part about kicking people out, but I disagree with you that he has dirt on a bunch of Republicans, because I think if he did, you would have heard it from Chris Christie or Nikki Haley or some of the ones, like, you know, there's Republicans out there that really hate him, like Jeb, you know, like Mitt Romney. I think one of them would have spilled the beans and said the only reason why these people are voting with this guy is because they got, especially Chris Christie would have certainly said it, because Chris Christie ain't held no punches.
What is Russia's purpose for hacking the RNC then?
For what is Russia's purpose for hacking the RNC?
Yeah, because they hacked both of they hacked both the DNC and the RNC. What was the reason to get the information from the RNC? If he's your guy.
Yeah, I don't have any answer for that. I mean,
exactly, because there's a reason they want the leverage either way. I don't care what anybody says. And to me, Ronald Reagan would be rolling over in his grave right now to think that the party that he was one of these icons of is in bed with these people that didn't even go like Glasnost and everything with Gorbachev and everything else. They've turned back to what they wanted to be when he was fighting them.
Wow.
Which I can't even.
But the crazy thing is, you say Ronald Reagan would roll over in his bed, but the right believes that Ronald Reagan is one of the best presidents we've ever had, and Trump is probably number 2 or number 1. It's almost like Ronald Reagan And Trump is kind of like comparing, you know, LeBron and Jordan, or LeBron, you know, or Jordan and Kobe or something. One is number one and one is number two. Some folks believe Trump is the best president we've had in our lifetime. Others believe it's Reagan among Republicans.
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people were fooled by Reagan and the whole trickle down economics thing. It was a new thing at the time. I think over time, long term, we figured out that didn't work. So at the moment, I think, hey, you know, we were getting our ass beat, you know, embarrassed in the Middle East, Jimmy Carter times, and all these things, and you know, we come out of Vietnam, and we were demoralized as a nation and the military and all that. He gave everybody hope. Well, that's the difference between Trump and Reagan, though. Reagan talks about hope. Trump talks about fear.
But here's something I would ask you, though. Now, Reagan obviously left in 1988, so it's almost been 40 years since he was president, and yet his reputation among the Republican Party is still stronger than ever. Do you see Trump 40 years from now among Republicans still having a very solid, strong reputation?
In 10 years, you will have people not even admit they ever even had a MAGA hat. You'll get rid of that hat you had back there.
I can't get rid of the MAGA hat. No.
It will be embarrassed. It'll be like you're going around with these, you know, Yahtzee paraphernalia in your house. You're not going to have it.
Damn.
People are going to be embarrassed that they ever even said that they supported this guy.
Wow.
It'll take 10 to 15 years, and people are like, well, you know, he was just, you know, we just wanted a disruptor and all this other, and we got it. And like I say, he taught us a lesson. But I know at another point you were talking about earlier in terms of polls.
Yeah.
I think it will be much more in favor of Harris than what people think, because it's the same reason why we were surprised when Trump won. They're not able to properly assess the new voters, or the people who are just now going in and registering to vote. You have many more women, many more African American women in particular, that have registered to vote. I know most of us on this live here probably ain't been polled. Those people are definitely not being polled.
I've been polled I've been polled a bunch. I get polled all the damn time.
I don't care about the polls, because, you know, it's almost like rallies. You know, rallies don't win elections, polls don't win elections, and I just think at the end of the day, they don't have a good understanding of how people are going to do anything. And what Trump does do great is he's such a polarizing figure. He gets a lot of people to go out to the polls. And that's what MAGA does not understand. Well, you're going to tell me that Biden got more votes than Obama? Yeah, because people in general, people are more haters than they are for other things.
Yeah.
So we will go out and say, hey, I don't care who wins, but I know this motherfucker ain't gonna win. You had people that had never voted in their life say, I'm gonna get my ass to the polls, gonna make sure he's not gonna be there. And why would we not hire this person again? You already fired his ass before. If a person gets fired from your company, you don't bring them back.
Well, you might if you bring in a replacement, and the replacement worse.
No, I work in HR. I've worked in recruiting for almost 30 years. You know what you do? You go get another person. You don't bring anybody back.
Yeah.
Once you've been eradicated from the office, you don't come back. And if you look through our history, it only happened one time.
Yeah, I did.
One time it has only happened. So, I mean, I'm a gambler. I'm saying I'm betting my money that he does not see the White House again. And it may be a little bit of time, but he's going to go to jail.
Jail?
Jail of some sort. I mean, even if they put an ankle bracelet on him or something, put him in Mar-a-Lago, he is not going to be walking around as a free man. Oh, my
God. He be hanging out with Big Beach. I don't think Trump doing it. I don't think Trump doing any time.
We're not America if we don't. We have to do it. That's who we say we are. So once he's no longer in any power at all, like what you said, you have people that'll get in line and say, well, you know, he's not a threat, or my political life isn't in jeopardy anymore. Hey, you're gonna have people say, yeah, we're a nation of laws again and all this bullshit, because I can't. What Trump wrongly believes is he does not really believe that he is the useful idiot that everyone else knows that he is, but he doesn't know that he is.
Oh,
one thing that I liked about what Kamala got him on the debate is true, and I always have thought this: he is easily manipulated through flattery and favor. And no matter who is doing that, that's who he's
and that is scary, because that makes him vulnerable. I got to move it on, but I do agree with you that if a world leader is it flatters him, it will have value to it. I do agree with that you can kiss his ass and get things of favor. I don't disagree with that.
And our enemies know it, and the evangelicals know it as well.
Yikes. All right. Appreciate you coming in, man. All right, moving on with the program, by the way. Ask him why. Wait a minute. This is coming from. Does that say Shell Jordan? Ask him why, if he is voting Harris, if you don't bring back someone who has done bad. You're saying, well, you're basically saying his quote of you don't reelect Trump because you believe he's done bad. You're saying that should be applied to Harris. What is Kamala Harris did bad, quote unquote bad? Now, and I know where you're likely to take this. The pushback I'm going to give is, as vice president, you're not we're saying she's the border czar. She screwed up with the border. Some folks are blaming her for the economy. A hell of a lot of folks believe that Trump gave us one of the best economies in recent history, and ain't nobody crediting Mike Pence for shit. So why is Kamala Harris getting credit for everything of the Biden-Harris administration? I do believe folks are overstating that. Because if that's the case, then you should be bragging about how great of a vice president Mike Pence was. And last I checked, MAGA was hoping he would hang around for a little bit longer. So I don't know where that's coming from. Anyhow, tap the screen, get us on up to 80,000. You guys are helping out, showing a little bit of love there. Tap the screen, let your thumbs not be lazy. See if I can respond to one of my vertical, my horizontal. Every step, I cannot read this shit without hang on a second. Every step I take, you quoted the song, every move I make, every night, let me read this again now. This is coming from somebody named Diddy. Every step I take, every move I make, sing it with me, every single day, every night I'm gay. I'll be freaky with you. It's all love. Pull up with that oil. Nothing to do with the program. Listen, at the end of the day, we get trolls on the program. I actually had to put on glasses and get up to the vertical. I like to read comments from all of the platforms. I picked literally the worst one to fucking read. Tap the screen, get the likes up on YouTube. Get us up to about 80. We can certainly make that happen on YouTube. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. I had all the good political commentary coming in, whether it's love of Trump, hate of Kamala, or vice versa. I happen to pick the worst comment to read. Should be ashamed of myself. I just saw it there. Americans are pissed. Immigrants are being treated like kings. Americans being treated like shit. Says old guy hustle. That's true. There's some validity to that. Now, he's saying that Americans are pissed off. I agree with that. Immigrants are being treated like kings. I don't agree with that. Immigrants are being treated like kings. Americans being treated like shit. And there's three parts to that. First of all, I do agree with number one that Americans are pissed off. There's no denying that. You can easily make people pissed off by telling them shit they don't want to hear. And both sides do that. So I don't disagree with that. But immigrants being treated like kings is flat out false. I mean, we've seen what Texas governor, what the hell's the guy's name? I always know his name right now. I can't think of his name. But the governor of Texas sending immigrants to Chicago in the middle of the damn winter with no clothes on. How the hell is that treating immigrants like kings? Greg Abbott, that's the governor of Texas. Ron DeSantis, to a lesser degree, did the same shit. Sent them to Chicago, New York, and these liberal sanctuary cities without even having clothes on. I don't see the king treatment in that. So the idea that they're being treated like a king doesn't make sense. Americans being treated like shit, the final part of that statement, that's a good one, an old guy hustle, three-part question or statement. Americans being treated like shit. I'll tell you this, in my humble opinion, it doesn't matter if you get Kamala Harris in or Trump. The treatment towards Americans is not going to improve. I would tend to think you might get more of that out of Kamala because she is for some social programs. Trump, the right, not being for universal health care, tuition forgiveness, a minimum wage increase. The right is a pull yourself up by your bootstraps party. How the hell are Americans going to get treated any better? What do you expect to get? Notice when we talk about, instead of sending money to the Ukraine, instead of helping out the Israelis, that money could be going to Americans in need. Have you noticed that there are no Republican politicians, hell, no Democrats either, but no Republican politicians bragging about how much shit they used to do for poor people before the Ukrainian-Russia war broke out in February of 2022? That war is only like 2 years, two and a half years old. If instead of sending money to the Ukraine, we were going to help out Americans, where are all Americans that were being helped before the money went overseas? When Obama was in office, there was no Ukrainian-Russian war going on. Obama was allegedly the deporter-in-chief. So there wasn't an issue with the border either. Yet the right still was against giving Americans universal health care. So the idea that Americans are getting treated like shit, you're always going to get treated like shit. Just like right now, we're passing laws that prohibit a woman from terminating her pregnancy, and we're not passing a single law to make sure that when the baby is born, it actually can eat. They're never going to treat Americans. I mean, we are against helping out poorer people government-wise in this country. Yeah, you can donate some money at the church or do it charity-wise, but I don't want the government to force us to help our poor people. That's kind of the sentiment in this country. So that ain't going to change if you put Trump in office. Cave Teeth. Is that real? Jesus. Cave Teeth. That's a hell of a name. Every single thing Kamala has done is anti-American. Damn. Anti-family, anti-God, anti-white. Now, you know her husband is white. Anti-self-defense. She claims to own a Glock. That's why I will be voting for Trump. That's a hell of a statement. Let's tackle it. It's a super chat. You know, I'm always address the super chats because it changes the whole damn screen. Every single thing Kamala Harris has done is anti-American. First of all, I don't know where Kamala Harris has done a lot. A lot of the things you're stating has to be taken simply based on what you perceive she said. Like, you're saying she's done everything anti-American, anti-family, anti-God, anti-white, anti-self-defense. Well, if I ask you to give me some policies, that's what we always talk about Trump. Don't focus on what Trump says. Pay attention to what he does. Vote for policies not based on your emotions. What policies have Kamala Harris did to promote any of this? What has Kamala Harris did in this country, policy-wise, to suggest to suggest that she was trying to be anti-God, anti-white, anti-something? She hasn't done anything policy-wise. You're going solely based on what she said. Now, maybe she has said things that you might interpret the way. I don't know what she's really said that's anti-God. Damn. Cave Teeth. Wow, that's strong. Feel free to elaborate on that. I'd like to know, what are you talking about there? That's some strong shit. But FEMA gives disaster victims $750. That's a initial amount. Buzz 410. Big sum 410. The $750 FEMA gives you is an initial amount for essentials like food, baby formula, and shit like that. You can get tens of thousands of dollars from FEMA, like 30, 40 grand from FEMA. It doesn't stop at $750. That's, once again, something that's being used to demonize the left. It doesn't stop at $750. And by the way, I will tell you this. What is his name? Johnson or whatever, the Speaker of the House, Congress. They, under the Republicans, Congress is still controlled by the Republican Party. There was an effort to raise that $750 initial payment. And the Republican Congress shot it down back in 2021. That don't come up. They're blaming Biden for the $750. That whole thing is controlled by Congress. Biden don't do that. That's Congress. That's money. Congress handles that. Now, Biden may be able to do some form of an executive order that doesn't excuse Congress from shooting it down to begin with. Let me continue on with the program. I don't know what I'm looking at there, but Norican lady, is that what I'm seeing? Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Norican or Norican? It's folks like you who confuse people, says Dan. Dan, appreciate the input. State in the comments, how am I confusing someone? Hell, maybe I can clear it up, or perhaps another guest can do so. You're saying it's folks like me that confuse people. All right. Thank you for the input, but clear it up. When has America been great for black people? Asking for a friend. Shit. Never. I'll tell you this, before the box is having a bit of an issue, I'll let it reset. The phrase "Make America Great Again," I hear it all the damn time. Certainly you see an African American with the I've had people see the hat behind me on the show and not even pay attention to the fact that the show is named The Handsome Liberal. Just skip over this shit. Block my ass to begin with. They're not for free speech. They see an African American with a MAGA hat, they lean left, they don't want to hear a damn thing that MAGA has to say. They confuse me as MAGA, and they just block me. I get it all the time. I get people who write me and apologize. I thought you was this until I started listening to you. Shout out to you folks who have done that. But when was America great? The phrase "Make America Great," in my humble opinion, was never meant to consider the black experience at all. Make America Great is about the nuclear family, bringing back religion in household, schools, and in our society, and going back to a time when people had more traditional values. That's what Make America Great means. Going back to a time when you didn't have a lot of the progressiveness of today. The black experience was never considered in that. Because to answer your question, when was America great for blacks? Never. There is not a single day in history, if you are African American, that you should want to go back to. So the phrase "again" immediately should exclude it from any black person thinking, well, there's a day back in history that things were, no, it wasn't. It was never better. Today is the best damn day it's ever been if you're a person of color. Hell, I don't even want to go back to yesterday. It gets better for people of color every day. So just to answer your question, never. Continuing on with the program, though, the 1950s, after the Second World War, or the 1910s before the First World War. Well, right after the Second World War, we had a really booming economy. America was becoming a superpower. Like I said, the nuclear family, all this stuff. You could afford, people were buying their first homes a lot more. Military folks coming home, all it was a roaring economy. It was a good time for certain people in the country. So that is a time a lot of people would like to go back to. It just wasn't that great for people of color. But like I stated, it wasn't in reference to people of color. It's a statement that's being made, and the African American experience in America that took place in the past is not even being considered. It's not about you. Looking in the comments, yes, for certain people, I understand. Don't we all have color? If you're talking about a television set, maybe so. I'll leave it at that. Going back to the box. I tried to bring up a guest. We had an issue on the last one. Amps 480. Tap the screen. We're almost at 80. Let's go for 90. Sounds like you're holding an auction. Tap the screen, let your thumbs not be lazy. Amps, good afternoon. Amps 480. He's there, but he's not there. All right, we'll move the program on then. All right, I'll go to the next guest. That happens. Folks are on hold and they move around. One of my other subscribers, Mr. Walter. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Wait a minute, what did I hit here? And the black community was still trying to live. That is true, Mike DeSella. That is true. Wait a minute, I brought up 51 cent. I don't even want to know what that means, but good afternoon. Another guest that is there, but not 51 cent. Are you there? All right, apparently not. I can hear the background, so I know the person is there, but probably stepped away. Mr. Walter, we were trying to bring him up a moment ago. What does this say there? I see a few blue hearts coming out. Some of you, any of you folks voted already? Has any of you folks voted already? Mr. Walter, good evening.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
Appreciate that, Mike. So what do you think? Trump is seemingly surviving everything but the kitchen sink being thrown at him. What gives him that staying power that mere mortals would long be gone?
I'll say it this way. He is a really good salesman. He's very charismatic. A lot of people, that's good enough for them, And I'll say the other part of it is he's fucking lucky as hell. and part of it is Merrick Garland.
Appreciate that, Texas mom.
Merrick Garland should have started his investigations a year and a half before he actually did. and we would have had these court cases already, in front of the American people. I believe he's guilty. I believe if you look at the redacted, recently unsealed indictment for the
from Jack Smith,
all the cases are kind of shit. Like he did it, but I don't really necessarily think they should have, hammered him on these small things. They should have gone after him for the big shit that was really meant a lot. The January 6th is.
Yeah, I think that one of the things I'll give Trump credit for, in addition to you saying he's a great salesman, he pushes the envelope in ways that they're fighting him in a traditional manner. It's almost like getting in a boxing ring with somebody and they start biting and and hitting you in the back of the head and shit. You ain't expecting all of that. So they're trying to handle Trump in traditional ways, and he's not fighting a traditional defense.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. He's a slippery guy too. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's not a dumb. I hear Billy so dumb. He's not dumb. He knows how to work the game. I do think he's a psychopath, but other than that.
So do we get him back? Is he going to be our 47th?
Honestly, I'm pretty worried. I mean, if you go by polls, it's fucking neck and neck. So who knows? I have a feeling that he's going to lose. And I'll say this because the support, the enthusiasm on the left has surpassed what Trump has. I do think there's a very, dedicated group, obviously, of his supporters that are going anywhere. But let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you one thing. Of all the people who voted for Trump the last time, how many do you think he's lost over various things he's done and said versus how many he's gained?
That's
do you think he's really gained that many? No, I think he's lost more than he's gained. The question will be,
I want to say I agree with you that Trump has likely lost more voters than he gained, but I don't know. I mean, Biden got allegedly 80 million votes. Do I feel confident that Biden has retained all of that? I mean, they both may have lost votes.
I think the fact that they switched to Kamala very much helps the chances of that happening. You've seen how many people have been signing up, registering. It's record numbers. Literally, it's historically high numbers for people registering to vote, young people. So, we'll see. I honestly don't know, but if I had to guess, he's going to lose. And I wanted to just touch on one point that somebody else had brought up about him going to jail. I don't think they really want him to go to jail. If I were Jack Smith and he's convicted on some of the most serious things, right, I would say, Trump, here's your offer. You admit on camera, live, to everything that you did.
That ain't gonna happen.
Say you did this. Well, let me finish this sentence, because I agree. He would never willingly do that, right? But and he won't. He'd say nah, and Jack Smith will say, all right, well, you got 1 week in the pen, and then you're gonna come back and make your decision. So send his ass to the fucking pen and see how he likes it. Give him a minute to think about it. He can go back to Mar-a-Lago, sit in his fucking golden fucking shitter or whatever. He is not going to want to be in jail.
I don't see it, first of all, because if you put him in a pen, he still is entitled to Secret Service protection and things like that. So what do you surround him with a...
Yeah, I guess he probably really wouldn't go to a federal penitentiary.
He'd get a house arrest. At most likely he'd get house arrest. That would be the most likely thing he would get.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but in my opinion, if I could pick the outcome, I would really like to see him admit his crimes so that all his followers will know who the man really is. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I said, when it comes to Trump and he don't apologize for anything, he ain't gonna do any of that. I mean, at the end of the day, he knows that time is on his side. He got millions of folks that support him, and he can push the system. They're not, because I don't think he's gonna go to jail. There's no need for him to apologize. If he apologizes, it ruins his legacy. He'll be below Nixon at that point. He will be, because right now in America, I think there's like only two schools named after Nixon. They don't name anything after Nixon because he left with such a tarnished legacy. Now, Trump, regardless, even if Trump wins again, he's going to leave with a tarnished legacy. I think that's unavoidable. There will be a lot of people who love him versus a lot of people who hate him. And I think anything named after Trump, probably for the rest of our lives at least, will be controversial. If he gets because they're building Obama's library now in Chicago. I seen it the other day. Whenever they get around to building Trump's presidential library, it will be controversial. People, even if he's dead, people's probably going to be out there protesting, holding up signs about things he did. I mean, he will be a person that's shrouded in controversy. Probably forever.
Yeah, his library probably had his personal copy of Mein Kampf, and they get a lot of people to come, on a pilgrimage to see it. But I really I want the man to be exposed for who he is. I feel like he has pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes, and that's what I would wish. I don't necessarily wish the man harm or ill will or actually even going behind bars like a lot of people on my side do. I just want him to admit it. But you're right, he would never do it, and
no need to.
He may snake away.
Yeah.
He may skate out of this, somehow on some way, but I hope not.
Yeah, my guess is he's going to die a rich old man, whether he becomes president or not. But I got to move it on, Mr. Walter. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Anytime. Anytime. Thank you. Moving on with the program. Now, I don't believe Trump's going to get be incarcerated. I don't believe it. I mean, at the end of the day, he's like 78 now, so probably have a lot of time left on Earth. And this is one of the issues that I think Trump is getting some karma because he was ridiculing Biden for being an old man so much. It's happening to him now. I mean, because Trump is only like 3 years younger than Biden. And for all of the Biden has dementia, can't string together a sentence, he's tripping over his words. A lot of folks that are close to Trump are starting to suggest that he's doing it more and more now too. And the whole argument was, do you believe Joe Biden in his current condition can honorably serve 4 more years reliably? And a lot of folks, even Democrats, are saying no. It's starting to get to the point where folks are starting to suggest that Trump can't either. That Trump, from now until 2028, may not be able to make it happen. He may also end up in mental decline or whatever the case may be. He will, if Trump wins in November, if he wins next month, he will be the oldest president in U.S. history. Right now, he's the oldest presidential candidate in U.S. history because he is older right now doing what he is doing than Biden was when he did it. What's really crazy is that Trump spent years ridiculing Biden on age, and now he's in that position. Karma can be a bitch sometimes, but that is crazy that he's in that position right now. But by way of yes or no in the comments, just yes or no. Do you believe that Trump is dependable for 4 more years? I'm not saying that you may think he has way better policies than Kamala Harris. I get it. But do you believe he is likely to be mentally competent to run this country for 4 more years? I want to see the response to that. Typical Republican talking points are typical Republican talking points stating programs are broken when Republicans are the ones to break them by cutting or defunding them. But they're going to bring up the police and suggest the liberals are trying to do that. But I do get your point. The Republicans are against social programs for sure. The only thing anti-American is Republicans trying to cut social programs actually helping people. I don't like that. That is the American stance. Is we're not big fans of helping out our poor. We're not. Yeah, if you want to donate some money, you would. But in terms of the government helping out the poor, a large portion of this country is not a fan of that. I don't want my tax dollars going to. I don't care what it is, whether it's giving uninsured medical insurance, whether it is helping out, a pregnant woman with a kid, whatever it is, who's going to pay for it? Because I don't want my money going to it. I'm not a big fan of that. I do hear what you're saying there, Will. Fun fact, the Bible states once the third temple is built, the Antichrist will be revealed. Guess who wants the temple built? I'm not going to touch that. I'm not very religious enough to do so. That's going above my head, but I think I know what you're trying to say. He says, fun fact, the Bible states once the third temple is built, The Antichrist will be revealed. Damn. And guess who wants the third temple to be built? Guess who wants the temple to be built? Oh my God. Will, you're going to piss off a bunch of MAGA. Tap the screen. We almost at 100,000. We can make that happen real quick. Somebody in the comments, let me know what Deion Sanders is doing to Arizona. Colorado Buffalo. Last I saw, they were winning by a big margin. Somebody stated in the comments. I'll go to the next caller, but somebody let me know in the comments what Colorado is doing. Hopefully they win that game. Continuing on, he will retire in 2 years. Well, if he retires in 2 years, President J.D. Vance, what do you think? 31-7, huh? Go to Buffaloes. All right, so they'll be what, 5-3? 5-2 rather. 5-2. All right. Who cares about MAGA? They are a lost cause. That is not true, Team Cawthorn. They're not. I mean, there's going to be, let me just say it like this. Even if Kamala Harris wins in 2 weeks or so, there's going to be plenty of MAGA candidates that are going to win down ballots. MAGA's not going away if Trump loses. And Trump is not going away either. Trump is still going to be speaking, still going to be getting involved in politics and trying to promote someone else that might not only give America the agenda that Trump wanted to do, but help him out. For let's say, for instance, what my last caller was talking about, the possibility of Trump being incarcerated or whatever the case may be. Well, then he wants candidates in office that might still be favorable to him, that would help him in any way, fashion, or form. I don't know how much they could do, but because they're not in the presidential, they're not a president, but you get enough Congress, get enough Senate behind it, at the end of the day, the president, let's say it's Kamala Harris, she wants to be able to deliver her agenda to America, such as, let's say, rolling back Roe v. Wade. Let's say if Kamala Harris became president, they continue going after Trump, trying to lock him up. You got President Harris, who wants women to have the right to choose. If you had, let's say, the Congress and Senate remains Republican, I don't expect it to go down like this, but let's say Kamala Harris is in there, but she don't have enough support from the Senate or the Congress to, let's say, some of her signature legislation to get it through. If some of them who were strong supporters of Trump came to her and stated, I'll let you be the one that gets credit for giving women back the right to choose and helping codify it, but you got to pardon Trump. I think she might do it. This is backdoor shit. This is not something they're going to announce to the American people. It happens behind the scenes. Then she'd come out and give some kind of bullshit reason for why she thinks pardoning Trump is better for healing the nation. But she would also be bragging about codifying a woman's right to choose, so a lot of people would be celebrating her. I believe that it could. I think things can be done behind the scenes. So I just want to point it out that way. Maybe some of you folks do disagree and you're entitled to do so. Trump will buy his way out of prison. He's that much of a coward. Well, shit, if I had the money, I'd buy my way out too. Who the hell wants to go to prison and they got a bunch of money sitting around? You think P. Diddy ain't trying to do that? Martha Stewart, who only did like a year, spent like 45 million or something, not 45 million, but she spent a lot of money trying to stay out of prison. Yeah, I'm going to try to buy my way out of prison. Who the hell want to go to prison? Going back to the box, only hardened criminals. I can do a year. Yeah, your ass is a hardened criminal to say some shit like that. All right, Swift Dog. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Buy your way out of prison. Of course, they denied P. Diddy bail. Yeah, poor P. Diddy. P. Diddy probably is over with. Uncle Sam doesn't need his money. Ask Diddy. Uncle Sam's going to get Diddy's money, though. I guarantee you, the federal government or whoever the hell's going after it's the feds. They're going to get money out of Diddy. They're going to certainly get money out of him. We need Trump tears, not his con money, says Funky Cole Medina. Love the song. I'll try to bring up another guest. My last one, the box is playing games here. Let's give it to DJ Big Dollar. Okay, shout out to you. If he doesn't go to jail, that only validates how you, wait a minute, hang on a second, Big Dollar. If Trump, okay, he says if he doesn't go to jail, referring to Trump, if Trump doesn't go to jail, that only validates how you un-American white nationalists operate. DJ Big Dollar. DJ Big Dollar.
Hey, Howard.
I'm doing good. Good afternoon.
I'm just questioning your sort of motivation because I just see you simping a lot for Trump.
Simping?
You're an apologist for his people.
Give me some
You
examples.
may state, my beloved MAGA. You're laughing at DJ Julio's completely misogynistic MAGA-based comments.
Oh,
You think it's funny when people bring up super racist?
okay, you got. Hey, hold on. I'm okay. Hang on. DJ, I'm okay with the criticism, but you got a lot of noise going on in the background.
Sorry, hold on a second. Let me do it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there's a lot.
Okay, sorry. I just pulled up my headphones. Sorry, I just walked up some stairs.
Okay.
You make statements like, we like Trump. We believe, and when people bring up facts, you go like, well, I'm not sure I believe it, but people are bringing up facts. And you're not doing any.
Give me an example. Give me an example of a fact that you're talking about.
Stuff he said about overthrowing the government, basically using the military against American citizens.
And how did I respond?
Basically taking people who don't agree with him, which is actually in his policy that's on his website, that's saying he's going to remove anybody, basically the left, the woke left, out of the military.
I've criticized the hell out of him. I didn't sip on him at all for that. I said it does sound like a dictator.
You laugh and you giggle and say, well, I'm not so sure I believe you. And you say these things like, well, I'm not so sure he's going to be able to do that. When people say they're going to do something, believe it.
I don't know if you're hearing me, because yeah, you're right. I'm not so sure he's going to be able to do it, but I'm not taking away the criticism for the fact that he's saying it. Just like with the giving police immunity, I hammered Trump on that.
People said he wouldn't make a Muslim ban happen. People said he wouldn't overturn abortion rights. People said he wouldn't be found guilty of felony charges.
Okay, maybe it's like what
the thing is, he's also said numerous times completely un-American things. Going after his enemies. You also have to think he's caused death threats against judges, his victims, his crime victims, his opponents, his own party, his own vice president. And he's said things like he's going to beat the hell out of protesters.
I think maybe you're kind of Landon C64 in the comments is saying I don't come out strong enough. I think that's kind of what you're saying too, because I criticize Trump. All the stuff you're talking about.
Pussyfoot around them.
No, well, that's the way you view it. I've probably had 10 shows on Trump lying about Haitians eating cats and dogs and talked about how that's causing havoc for Haitian migrants in that town. And I talked about him saying, well, we don't mind you coming here, just come here legally. Well, the Haitian migrants are here legally, so he's backtracking on that. I've hammered him on plenty of things.
But at the same time, you kind of laugh and giggle about it. When you don't take it, literally, that's a disservice to everybody. You're laughing and giggling at blatant racism.
Okay, all right. Look,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it.
Because morals, basically, when you don't have the morals, you're going to behave that way.
Okay.
And the thing is the same thing with Trump. He says these things, and it shows a lack of morals. A lack of morals when a politician generates policy, and the policy that is actually he's saying and stating, and it's on his site. He's saying stuff and he's lying about it, but he's making these statements at the same time in public, on video, and you're saying, well, I don't believe it, or maybe he can't do that. He will make every effort to do those things, and you're just kind of like, well, apologizing or saying, you saying that it's not going to happen is not.
I don't say that though. The thing about, like I said, for me, I've stated it probably 100 times already that promising to give police immunity from prosecution is a deal breaker for me. I said that 100 times. I think it's what Landon said in the comments. I make my opinion known, like you said, laughing or whatever. You just want me to have a more stoic tone about it, but I'm making it clear that I'm not a fan of saying they're eating Haitians are eating cats and dogs without proof. I'm not a fan of what happened on January 6th. I criticize them on all of this stuff.
But you don't criticize. You just go like, well, that's your opinion.
No, I do not. You do. You gotta watch.
You have to be either being disingenuous. When people say, and I listened a couple of days ago with you and DJ Julio's interaction. I've listened numerous times to that interaction. When he says the most misogynistic, racist stuff, you giggle and laugh.
I get plenty of folks on the show that say the same shit. And I hate to both sides to this damn thing, but I get folks who call, hold on, folks who call Trump diaper Don, orange hair. People say shit about white folks. Sometimes listen, I got thick skin. People say crazy shit about me, and I laugh. I have thick skin. I'm sorry for having it. I have thick skin.
We all got, and you have to be thick-skinned. I get it. I get that. But it's like you're not helping. Like, you're not challenging these people. And when they say the most ridiculous, untruthful things, they say, well, you're not fighting back. You're not saying that's not true.
I'm not doing, okay.
People bring proof to you that he says these things. You just say, well, I'm not sure. I don't believe it either way. And like, that's being a sympathizer.
I think you want a show where somebody just bashes Trump 24 hours.
No, I don't.
I get so many. You'd be amazed at how many folks I get in my DMs or even in the comment section that call me a libtard and everything, telling me that I'm too far to the damn left. And then I get a guy like you where you're too far to the... Listen, at the end of the day, I like to be able to call balls and strikes no matter who the hell is pitching. And that does make me come across often like a piece of shit to both sides. Because people want you to pick a side. I see some good things that Trump does, some bad things that Kamala Harris does in reverse. I see both. So,
That's why.
Well,
That's why. But you also think of these motivations is what's going on. Qualified immunity. And basically the border and immigration. Do you realize what is going on behind the scenes on that?
How do you realize it? How do you know?
Who made money over his immigration policy?
Huh?
Who made money off of his immigration policy of basically putting separation and putting people in cages? Putting children in cages.
Well, I'm assuming the same people who made money when Obama was doing it.
Yeah. But think of what states is that happening in?
Texas, the border. Well, I don't think California's doing it at all, is it?
GOP-controlled states.
Yeah. So what's the point?
And think about that. GOP-controlled states. Who are the three biggest donors? There's three companies based out of Tennessee that are his biggest donors who are giving money to basically incarcerate people. And they're the ones behind him supporting. He wants to do mass deportations and mass incarcerations. And that includes people of color like me and you.
Okay. And I don't, like I said, I've already made it clear.
That's not bullshit. That's not, when somebody says something like that, how can you just sit there and like, well, that's your opinion, or that's just like, or it's not going to happen?
You just said it right now, and I didn't say a damn thing anywhere near what you just, I didn't say, well, it's your opinion or any of that. I didn't say any of that. I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, but you gotta push back. They lie to you your face, and you're just like, oh, whatever.
I got a whole fucking notebook of me pushing back on liberals and Republicans. What are you talking about? I push back all the damn time. That's why we have an entertaining program here.
You say my beloved liberals. Or you say we like Kamala. Let's be honest. Let's say it. My beloved liberal. Can you say it? Can you say it?
My beloved liberals. Are you happy now?
Here we go. Thank you.
All right, I got to move it on, Big Dollar.
You got to balance it out, man.
I think I do a good job at that. Big Dollar, we don't agree on shit, but...
Twice as good as 50 Cent.
Huh?
Big Dollar, twice as good as 50 Cent.
All right, you're always welcome back. We don't have to agree, man. Good talk. Doors always open to you.
I love your live. I love your voice, but I think sometimes you gotta call people. You gotta call out the facts. And a lot of times I see you just brush over them, and you allow a lot of misinformation to occur without fighting back. And we need to fight back. You don't realize what is on the line.
Yeah, I do.
Perhaps it's not hitting you. There is a lot on the line. Women's rights, the rights of minorities, the rights of education.
This is why I keep wondering if you watch this show. You make it sound like I don't talk about this shit. You make it sound like I don't talk about the fact that Trump could end up having the Supreme Court go as far as 7-1. How many times I've said that regardless of how you favor Trump's economy, 10 years from now, we won't be talking about his economy. We will be talking about his Supreme Court appointments. I cover every damn thing you're talking about. Don't let the laugh fucking confuse you. Last word is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like what you're doing. I'm not trying to tell you, I'm not trying to say you stop doing what you're doing. I'm saying you gotta speak a little bit more truth.
All right. Big dollar. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No hate or anything on you, man.
Thank you. Good. All right, moving on with the program. Listen, I don't mind the pushback. I get it from both sides. He certainly is welcome on the program anytime. Can push back all he wants. That's what it's all about, folks. That's how free speech works. If you do a favor that, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe to the program on YouTube and follow the program on TikTok, if you will. He didn't like that, my beloved MAGA. That is a popular phrase on the show. I often, we do keep the MAGA head up there because I do believe that conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA don't always get a fair shake in the media. So I display it to let MAGA know when you're on this show, despite the name of it, you'll always get a fair shake here. We don't have to agree politically. You do have the right to speak here. So that's how we run the show. Now, some folks feel like, as he stated, you don't fight back enough. All right. Looking in the comments, is it called a Wembulance? Big Rich, didn't Trump take over Obama's economy? Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to inherit whatever the previous commander-in-chief leaves you, and Trump received a pretty damn good economy from Obama. Yeah, that's true. Tim, you will not let me come up again. Mr. Ray, I don't remember you ever coming up before. Whatever that name is, Mr. Ray Dim. Why would I not let you come up? That doesn't make any sense unless you're just trying to play a little bit of that reverse psychology. Continuing on with the program, that says Gloria Hunt. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. I got to reset YouTube. Looks like I don't know if it's doing it or not. Gloria, good afternoon. Gloria, are you there? Sound like she's watching the game that I wanted to know about. Let me continue on with the program then. I'll go to the next caller. Graduated high school at 17,000 a year. That's 50K a year for 8 years, 3 kids. They have compassion. I don't quite get what you're saying there. Let me go back to the next caller. And moving on. What did I just do? 97. Huh. All right, I don't know what happened here, but I got to reset this thing, so bear with me.